and always a terrific rivalry no matter the sport. Link, you know it firsthand from your days as a shortstop for FSU.
The first thing I would do when that schedule came out that year was go down my list and see when the Gators came to town. You knew the stands would be packed an hour before the ball game. It was always exciting to come to the park on those days.
And no different today as the fans have been out early, and as I said, they're out in force. Well, Florida's just 2-2. They've played only 4 games. A bit odd they haven't had that many games so far. But one of the guys that they're looking to is Mark Ellis, especially when you don't have Brad Wilkerson back in that lineup.
Mark Ellis is a guy that's a 4-year starter. He's moved into the top 10 in 6 offensive categories for the University of Florida. He's got to provide a little bit of leadership and continues to provide that offensive production he's done so well over the past 3 years.
You want to talk offensive production for Florida State, there's Matt Diaz, but there's also a newcomer who has really caught Seminole fans by surprise. Marshall McDougal, and Mike Martin picked him up in all places in Gainesville.
Pulled him out of Santa Fe Community College. The guy's got great balance, great timing throughout his swing. Everything he does is simple. Defensively, he's made the transition from shortstop over to third base in a great manner. You couldn't ask him to do anything else.
Let's talk pitchers for this matchup. Matt McClendon, the Gators ace, on the hill today, a former first-round pick. Not have a decision this year. He struggled with consistency during his career.
He needs to get out there and be a bulldog. He needs to chew up some innings for the Gators. The guy's one of the hardest workers Andy Lopez has ever seen. He needs to provide that leadership similar to Mark Ellis and carry this club through a tough stretch.
McClendon is from Orlando. So is FSU starter today, John McDonald, who's 2-0 so far, and he's a veteran.
Came through Tommy John surgery with flying colors. He's back out here ready to go. If his breaking ball is on, Arizona State's going to with that curveball, and that's his go-to pitch when it gets tight.
McDonald in Florida, the start of a 2-game series this weekend here in Tallahassee. When we return to Dick Howser Stadium, we will check. It's Florida and Florida State baseball coming up next, right here on Sunshine.
Those fans is wild, ready to come out and enjoy themselves.
And our fans are the best.
Tremendous, loud, cheering, loyal, and keep having fun.
Thinking about it right now. Go for it again.
Great seats for the Predators' 1999 season are available now.
Babe Ruth, Roger Maris, now Mark McGwire. 1998. The ultimate dream and won. Now capture this historic moment forever with a collectible card that has been approved by Mark McGwire. Each 22-karat gold card is individually numbered and includes only a very limited number will be minted before the molds are destroyed forever. This exclusive limited time offer is yours for only $29.95 on a first-come, first-served basis with the lowest numbers shipping first. Display stand and collector's case absolutely free. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime offer. So order yours now. For order, call 1-800-571-8641. That's 1-800-571-8641. $29.95 plus $4.95 shipping and handling to the address on your screen.
You know, I go back a long time with this rivalry, and I was thinking this morning as I was driving over here, against the University of Florida, and that special feeling came over me this morning. Everybody my age going. It's that drive to figure out a way to beat somebody. Florida is a very, very good baseball team.
It's great. It really is. You know, I know the fans are into it. Coach Martin and I are dear, dear friends, and we talk about it all the time. The only heartbreak for us is I love playing them because you know the team and where we need to get better, what have you. But the downside is one of us has to go away with a loss or two. It's a great series. I think it's a great series for the state, a great series for college baseball.
The Gators in Tallahassee for the start of a 2-game series this weekend between the Gators and the Seminoles. Florida State will return the favor and play down in Gainesville. Saw Andy Lopez. He is years old, hired in 1994 here to coach the Gators. quite a resume. Now his 5th season at Florida, has done a terrific job with the Gator program. Let's take a look at the lineup. Mark Ellis leads off at shortstop. We've already talked about Ellis. Gators who have not played that many games this year, just 4 so far. Open up with 2 at home against 2 on the road against those same Hurricanes, and now on the road again against Florida State.
Florida State's played 11 ball games. They kind of have their roles established. University of Florida is 2-2. They've battled Miami 4 times. They're trying to figure out who fits in where in the lineup, and their pitching staff is very young. They're still trying to come to that gel point where they know when to these guys when they step out on the field.
Here is the rest of the Florida batting order. Mark Ellis. Siegel is third baseman this year. Dillon left. Catalanoti's got plenty of pop. He plays right. Keene, a transfer at second. Shealy, a big first baseman. Floyd, the designated hitter. Johannes has waited a long time, but is getting a chance to play. And in center field, number 9, Goss. Let's take a look at how FSU will line up defensively. Smith in left, Jernigan in center. Diaz, a fantastic freshman a year ago, plays right. Around the infield, Marshall McDougal at third. Brett Groves back for his 2nd year. Scott is the second baseman. Kevin Cash, a junior, at first. Jeremiah Klosterman takes over for Salazar behind the plate. And it is McDonald on the hill. 2-0 for John McDonald, 1.04 ERA. Terrific numbers for McDonald, really for the whole FSU pitching staff. And as you already pointed out, he's coming off Tommy John surgery a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's no surprise that he's doing this well. The guy's a hard worker. His rehab was unbelievable to get back into action here after that surgery. You're not going to see him shake off a whole lot today. He gets the sign, he throws the pitch. That's his concern. The guy goes right at you. His fastball moves. His curveball is unbelievable when it's cooking.
Ellis hitting .316 as he stands in. Let's listen to Mike Martin's description of his starter on the hill against the Gators today.
John McDonald is a guy that can beat you with 3 pitches. His changeup is definitely his 3rd best pitch. When he's cooking with his curveball, he can dominate because of a moving fastball. Been there, pitched in a series, pitched in many of the big games that we've had here. It's a relaxed feeling for us because we know we've got a guy that's not intimidating.
Good things to say about McDonald, although he's fallen behind the first hitter here. He is at 3-1, but great numbers for McDonald on the season for Florida State.
Mark Ellis is a guy we talked about earlier. He's in the top 10 in 6 offensive categories, and for reasons like that right there, gets ahead in the count, gets a pitch that he can hit, and drives it into left field.
3-1 pitch. He knew it was coming down the middle, and he ropes it into left, and he's on with a leadoff single here in the top half of the 1st inning.
Both teams have the capability of putting up some big numbers. I think the team that can produce the biggest big inning, somebody's going to put up a 3, 4, or 5 spot in one of these innings, and I think that'll carry them through the game. The pitcher that can survive those situations is probably the guy that's going to walk away with the victory.
Well, Matt Siegel stands in there now as McDonald throws over to first. There is Siegel, played second a year ago, playing third this year for the University of Florida. Ellis has had 1 steal and 2 attempts on the season, and McDonald has already fired over there once. Bluffs that time, and this one is grounded to first. They'll get the force, and not in time as Groves drops the baseball, trying to complete the throw. I don't know that they'd have had him anyway, but they do get the lead runner.
Nice play by Cash attacking that baseball. He cleared himself inside the base runner, so he had plenty of room to deliver the ball to Brett Groves. And like you said, Tom, I'm not sure they would have been able to come back and get the runner at first base.
Well, the key on this for Groves, he did drop the baseball, but it was after he had already gotten the force.
Watch
He was trying
Cash come up and attack that ball. He's got a great angle to throw. You see the base runner trying to stay inside and block that throwing lane. So it's a good job by Kevin Cash.
So now there is 1 out and a runner at first, and the throw back over, and diving head first, Siegel is in there safely. Jason Dill is the hitter now.
Now Kevin Cash told me that Siegel was his best friend in high school. They both went to Gaither High School in Tampa, so those two are probably talking about some old times down at first base right now.
A little friendship rekindled there. Well, there's plenty of guys wearing white that know plenty of guys wearing the orange and blue today.
You're right. It makes it exciting every year. You always know somebody on the other club. my roommate in summer ball is now their assistant coach. So you always find somebody you know when these guys come to town. And it's usually because they're out of the same area you are coming into college.
Know them in high school. You might get matched up with them in summer ball, too. Well, you have to figure McDonald, the FSU pitcher, has probably seen Matt McClendon a little bit since they're both from the same area in Orlando. There's a cut and a miss by Dill.
Dill was a freshman All-American last year in collegiate baseball. The guy hit 16 home runs, drove in 51 runs, so he's got the capability of putting the ball out of the park. He's a run producer, a big left-handed stick, so right in the heart of the order, this is the guy that they're relying on to provide some production offensively.
1-1 the count. One out and a runner on first, and cut on, and Cash again is going to have the same exact play. This time Grove's throw is over to McDonald, who can't handle the ball. So there are 2 outs, so once again they cut off the lead runner.
Carbon copy of the last play. This ball hit a little harder. Brett Groves had a little more time to make the transition and deliver the throw back to McDonald. I think you're going to see McDonald cover first base here and try to catch the ball with 2 hands. It kind of tied him up. Instead of just catching it with 1 hand, he really reaches with 2 hands, and that other hand gets in your way. Your bare hand doesn't really help you at this level. You like to teach young kids, use 2 hands to catch a ball, but you have a lot more extension and flexibility when you just go out there and catch it with that glove hand.
Well, let's see if Florida can make him pay. It is not an error. You don't assume the double play there, although FSU would have been out of the inning had he made that catch. So 2 outs and a runner on first, and the cleanup batter stands in there for Florida. The right fielder, Greg Catalanotti. 3 homers on the season, leading that Florida lineup.
All but one of his hits, I believe, is a home run, so he's off on a power surge in 99. A switch hitting right fielder. Guys, got a little pop. So the top part of Florida's order is where their production has come so far. Andy Lopez told me they're trying to solidify the bottom half of the order. They kind of know what to expect out of their top 5. As you move into the lower part of the batting order, that's where they haven't really found their roles yet.
Well, that's where you've got some of the new faces that weren't playing the last couple of years. You look at the top half, and Ellis has been around forever for Florida. Siegel was there last year. You talked about Dill's exploits as a freshman. No score here in the top of the first at Dick Howser Stadium. Tom Block and Link Jarrett with you. Runner on first, and 2-1 pitch on the way. Cut on and missed by Catalanotti.
You see the good hard breaking ball by McDonald features that pitch, and it seems like the hitters don't pick it up very good. His breaking ball is so tight that it looks like a fastball coming in. Then the ball dives down, and you're really beat at that point as a hitter. So it's hard to stay with that ball. It looks like a breaking ball because the rotation is so tight.
2-2, strike 3. McDonald sits him down. First strikeout for McDonald, and then Olds get out of some possible trouble there. The Gators strand a runner at first. McDonald settles down and strikes out the cleanup hitter, Catalanotti. On a nasty pitch right there. Half an inning in the books. We're coming back. Florida State will bat when we return to Tallahassee.
If you love golf and have had a chance to play much in the last few months, then you're probably familiar with the amazing success of the Tri-Metal line of fairway woods. Well, now there's a new Tri-Metal, and if you like the fairway woods, you're going to love the Tri-Metal D.
The Tri-Metal driver is another Orlamar breakthrough in multi-material technology and design. Independent tests proved the Tri-Metal driver was 73% straighter and carried 9 yards longer than the Callaway Great Big Bertha.
Here's how you can get the same driver so many players are already playing. The Tri-Metal D.
Call the number on your screen now to order the new Orlamar Tri-Metal driver for only 4 easy payments of $74.95. By calling now, you'll receive this Roger Maltby golf video and a free subscription to Great Golf magazine.
Like the fairway woods before, this driver's not oversized. It's the right side.
Call now and be the first in your group with the new Tri-Metal driver from Orlamar Golf.
Welcome back to Dick Howser Stadium in the middle of the first inning. Florida got a leadoff single from Ellis, and they ended up stranding a runner. So Florida State will get a chance to bat for the first time. Mike Martin has been the skipper here since 1980. Picked up his 1,000th career victory last year and still going. Second fastest to that milestone. He has worn the garnet and gold for a long, long time. Was also a player here, an assistant coach here. And about every other year, if you average it out, he's taken this Florida State team to the College World Series in his years as head coach at FSU. Here's the lineup for 11, as he's referred to by the FSU players. Carl Jernigan in center, McDougal at third, Diaz, the fine right fielder, then Halliday, Scott, Klosterman, Cash, Groves, and Smith batting ninth in left field. They are taking on the Florida Gators ace, Matt McClendon. And his first offering, right down the middle. Let's look at how McClendon and the Gators match up defensively. Well, way to pitch and get there as McClendon has got some real pop in that arm. That one catches the outside corner. You got Dillon left, Goss in center, Catalanotti plays right, Siegel and Ellis on the left side of the infield, Keenan Shealy to the right, Johannes behind the plate, and McClendon on the mound, making his 39th career start today. And Jernigan goes down. They appealed to first as we look at McClendon's numbers. No decisions on the year. Carl Jernigan thought he held up, but they appealed down to first base umpire Steve Manders, and he rung him up.
I was a little surprised he rung him up on that. I didn't even think they'd really check that swing. It didn't look like he went, but McClendon's got that slow breaking pitch. He can really settle in and dominate you with the fastball. The guy throws low 90s. It's got some good movement like you just saw there. He's going to have to chew up some innings this year for the Gators and get out there and really battle and show some of these young guys what it takes to win in these big type of ball games. Your Florida State, your Miami.
Well, here's what Andy Lopez, Link, said about his ace pitcher.
All I want to say is about Matt. He's a 3.7 student. He is, without a doubt, has the best work habits of any young man I've coached in 23 years as a head coach. You know, that alone speaks volumes for the young man. His mom and dad have done a tremendous job with him, and his high school coach. And really, you know, he wants to be a little bit more consistent, and he has been in his first couple outings, and hopefully this will just be another step in that direction for Matt.
Well, I tell you what, so far he's been pretty consistent, right around the strike zone as he misfires there, but sits down Jernigan, and he's got Marshall McDougal at 2-2.
The consistency Coach Lopez is looking for is the ability to get ahead of the hitters and then throw that pitch on the outside or the inside corner instead of letting it slide over the heart of the plate. That's what he's been guilty of throughout his career, and he needs to be able to overcome that and start being a little more accurate with that good fastball.
See McDougal in the fine start, 444. Got 20 hits and 45 appearances as a Seminole. This one is popped up in foul territory towards the Gator dugout, and there's room to play it, and the catch is made by the backstop, Todd Johannes.
Nice play. Johannes recognized where the dugout was. You know, he picked it up early, found the baseball, and then just stayed with it. Wasn't even a problem with falling down those stairs. He knew where the steps were the whole time. You'll see him immediately look and pick up that dugout right there. He knows exactly where he is on the field. Just good instincts.
You can see the Gator bench up there to grab him if he missteps there. 2 up, 2 down, and now Matt Diaz stands in, and 500, 3 homers and 18 RBI. It's hard to imagine that he would remain as hot at the start of this year as he finished last year, but you look at it, that's what he's done. And this one is right back up the box for a base hit.
Matty has developed into a very good hitter. You ain't hitting 500 unless you can hit the ball up the middle, hit the ball to right field, and not only can he hit it to that part of the park, but he can leave the park in those same areas. So he's turning into a complete hitter and a complete ball player, developing very well out in right field. That's a good pitch, and he just went down and drove the ball right back up the middle.
So it's a single for Diaz. Hits even at 1 now, and that's Florida State's first base hit, obviously. Diaz will stand at first. We've got 2 down, and the cleanup hitter for Florida State stands in there and takes a strike, and this is John Halliday.
Halliday's a big lefty. He's going to settle in the middle part of Mike Martin's order and provide some thump. You know, the guy's 6'5", big guy. You see him there. He's strong. He can hit the ball out in a similar manner to Diaz any part of the park.
Diaz with a big lead at first as Halliday cuts and misses. Halliday's in there protecting Diaz, so to speak. Kevin Cash had that assignment earlier in the year, but Cash is struggled a little bit so far, so you've got the big guy Halliday right there.
Halliday's a JUCO transfer out of Pasco Hernando Community College. Steve Winterling, a former Florida State coach, is the head coach at Pasco and has done a nice job developing Halliday, and he's got a good talent with the work. And Halliday's come in here and provided some offense. The balance that Florida State has this year offensively is great. It's a little uncharacteristic of what you've seen out of Florida State in the past. They got a DH that's big, that can hit home runs, a third baseman that's a great hitter, can provide some offense out of a spot that normally we haven't had the same offensive production that we're looking at this year.
Definitely a pretty good lineup from 1 to 9. The count is evened at 2 balls and 2 strikes now. And this one is swung on and popped up deep to right field, but we'll see where it goes. It is off the screen, and here comes Diaz. They're going to wave him in, and he is going to be safe standing up, and then runs into Johannes, and it's a big double for the big 6'5" cleanup hitter.
You got a short porch out there in right field. If you're a big left-handed power hitter, you got to love that. That 30-foot screen kept that ball in the park. Halliday just did a good job of driving that baseball, drove in a big run to get Florida State on the scoreboard.
Nice job there. It's tough the way they have that high screen, depending on how the right fielder plays it. You got to just wait and see where that thing comes down. But it hit high off the screen. There is Catalanotti going back and finally just turns around to play it.
Yeah, your chance to throw out the runner at the plate was gone once that ball got away from Catalanotti that far. You have a chance to throw him out if you can play the ball cleanly off the screen and fire a good throw to your relay man. Other than that, that runner should easily score from first base with 2 outs.
That's an edge that FSU has because their outfielders are camped out dealing with that screen all week long.
Exactly. We worked on that day after day.
So Catalanotti doesn't pick it up quickly enough, and Matt Diaz comes home, and it's 1-zip Florida State. Meanwhile, with a runner at second, Sam Scott is the batter, and he is behind 0-2 in a hurry. He's got some pop as well. You see 3 homers already for Scott. See what he does on an 0-2 pitch. Looks at it and didn't miss by much.
The balance we talked about offensively, Sam Scott is another factor there. He's a second baseman. The guy's already hit 3 home runs. So another spot on the field defensively, second base, you don't usually expect a lot of power, but Scott has provided that early on.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. It is downstairs, bounces in front of the plate, but Halliday's not going anywhere except back to second.
Andy Lopez said he wants Todd Johannes going home so dirty and beat up at the end of a game. He wants McClendon working down. He told me if he throws balls in the dirt, great. He wants that catcher's mask beat up from Johannes having to block those balls that are down in the dirt. So that's a good pitch.
Sure, Johannes doesn't mind. As this one is smoked to right center field. Going back, and it is off the screen again. Another run comes home, and Scott's going to hold up at second. That one hung up in the air for a long time before it finally hit that screen. Goss and Catalanotti just kind of had to watch. Back-to-back doubles and back-to-back runs for Florida State.
Sam Scott, good, strong left-handed hitter, 6 feet tall, 195, a big, strong second baseman. He just drove that baseball. If there's any wind at all, you would have seen 2 home runs. Watch his short stroke, drives right through the pitch. I don't think he thought he got it that well. He dropped his head, looked a little disgusted, but it ended up catching high off the screen.
And once again, you see the carom comes out, and had Scott been hustling, he probably could have legged that out to third from the get-go, but he stops at second, drives home a run, and already Andy Lopez is going to come out and talk to Matt McClendon. You know, when I talked to Lopez before the game, he said the thing that Matt has done in the past that they really wanted to try to get him out of the habit of doing is when you give up 1 run, just shut the door right there. In the past, he's given up 1 run, and it's led to 2 or 3 or 4 spots on him.
Right.
If he could just close the door at 1 or 2 runs and get some more innings, as you've talked about.
He gives up the run, then he comes back in 0-2, right away on Sam Scott. Then he throws a good pitch down in the dirt. Then the next pitch is right down the middle, about bell high. And that's not the way you really want to pitch at this level. You're going to get hurt. He's got the talent and the ability to dominate, but the location of those pitches is what he's struggling with early on in this game, and really throughout his career, that's been his weak point.
Saw Lopez jogging back to the dugout. Andy Lopez is the head coach, but he handles the pitching staff for Florida as well. He'd done that previously in his career, although not at Florida, but he handled the pitchers when he was at Pepperdine. This one gets away, but Scott's going to head back to second. Jeremiah Klosterman is the batter, senior catcher, who's gotten off to a good start as well. But it's about the same story for just about everybody in the lineup when you look at how well this team has hit and played out of the gate the first 11 games.
Florida State's lineup, as you look down it, there might be a couple guys down in the bottom that don't have their averages and their run production up where you'd like, but basically every inning you come to the bat, you have a chance of scoring a run. You don't want to get into a situation where you're coming up with 3 or 4 guys and you say, wow, there's really no chance for us to score. Florida State's got that ability throughout their lineup.
Now McClendon has fallen behind 3-0.
No matter where they are, they always have a chance to put together a big inning.
Klosterman takes over for Jeremy Salazar, who had been behind the plate for so many years here at FSU. Big shoes to fill, but Klosterman, an experienced guy, draws a walk right there. 4 straight pitches.
Well, if there's a time that a walk doesn't hurt you, that's probably one. You got Kevin Cash, a right-handed hitter. Klosterman swinging the bat so well that if you walk him, you still provide a force at every base for your infield. So as an infielder, it's almost a little easier. You got anywhere to go, but now he needs to bear down and try to get Kevin Cash.
And if you look at the numbers, Cash is hitting just 179 so far this season. Klosterman was up close to 400. That one catches the outside corner. And when you're hitting 179, I bet Kevin's feeling like anything close is going against him.
Sometimes when you're struggling, it looks like there's about 12 guys playing out in the field. It seems like everywhere you hit the ball, there's somebody there. And it's the opposite when you get rolling. When you start getting a good hitting streak, you're starting to drive the ball good. It seems like everywhere you hit the ball, there's an opening. So Kevin Cash just needs to stick with it. He's a good hitter. He's proven that throughout his career. He just needs to bear down here. A rivalry like this is something that'll get you going because you're not worried about your numbers. You're just worried about getting up there and battling somebody.
Well, it's now 1-2. Let's see what McClendon does against Cash. He went 0-2 on him and then wasted that one outside. McClendon has thrown a handful of pitches now in this first inning after setting down the first 2 batters on a strikeout and a pop-up. 1-2 pitch is popped up, foul territory, playable at first, and the catch made. The side retired. Ryan Shealy ends the Florida State rally. But FSU draws first blood. Back-to-back doubles, back-to-back runs. 1 inning in the books, 2-zip.
Log on. It's tournament time, and time to enter the Sunshine Network Pick 64 Pool Party, presented by Hip Health Plan of Florida. Between March 7th and March 11th, log on to SunshineNetwork.com and complete the tournament brackets. From the field of 64 to the national champs, every round counts. You can win a big screen TV from Sears, a set of Gary Player golf clubs, and other great prizes. So log on and pick your favorites for the Sunshine Network Pick 64 Pool Party. Brought to you by Hip Health Plan of Florida.
Get off the ice. The Devils will attempt to score on demand. Can clever play give the Lightning the upper hand? New Jersey versus Tampa Bay, Monday night at 7 on Sunshine. The Magic Guards let the Celtics know that the arena was off limits. Can they repeat their feats as they take their battle to Boston? Orlando travels to Boston. Coverage begins Wednesday at 6:30 on Sunshine.
We move to the second. Florida State strung together 3 straight hits and got 2 runs out of it. And wouldn't you know that it'd be the guys right in the middle of the order doing the damage again. Diaz a single, Halliday a double, and Sam Scott a double. And that makes John McDonald feel a little better as he walks to the mound. Florida and Florida State have been playing baseball quite a while. This is the 176th meeting all time. FSU leads the all-time series 95-79 with 1 tie. But I tell you what, since Andy Lopez has taken over at Florida, this series is evened out. Lopez is actually 9-7 against FSU as head coach. Won 2 of 3 last year. 2 years ago, the Gators won 4 of 6 from Florida State. And in '96, the Gators won 2 of 3 as well.
We got a beautiful day for baseball. I'd love to be sitting out there in those stands. The sun is bright. It's a little cooler up under the stadium, but out there in the bleacher seats, man, it is beautiful.
As long as you're not in the shade, then you're doing good. Get in the shade, it is a little nippy. Dick Hauser Stadium opened 1980s. Look at the dimensions. 320 down the line, 340 to the left. Pretty good shot to straightaway center, and then a short porch. I misread that, but it's 320 to right. And you see that's why they have a screen up there. Otherwise, every routine fly ball would be a home run.
That screen cost me about 15 home runs. I'd have been a power hitter if that screen wasn't up there. So
if it cost you 15, how many did it cost J.D. Drew?
It didn't cost him any money, but it cost him a couple home runs.
Kurt Keene will lead off for Florida here as we're into the top of the second. John McDonald played with Team USA over the summer, as did his teammate Nick Stocks. Falling behind 2-1 right now and still trying to get a feel for that strike zone to Tony Thompson.
The last broadcast versus Arizona State, John McDonald pitched and struggled a little bit early. Just couldn't seem to find that zone. Once he settled in, the curveball started to dominate, and he was able to move the fastball around a little bit. It just seems like it takes him a couple innings to really get himself settled down and comfortable, and then he just starts going to work. So let's see if he can follow the same routine here today versus the Gators.
Well, that one was roped, but it was foul by Keene. So here we go again. This one stays upstairs, and the count will run full.
Keene transferred in from Tennessee, led the Volunteers last year in almost every offensive category. He played some left field, some shortstop, some second base, even some third base. So very versatile athlete. Transferred down to the University of Florida within the SEC. He stepped in to play second base and is doing a good job.
Andy Lopez has had success with some transfers, and Keene is one of them. Casey Smith and David Ross, who finished their playing years last year, a couple others.
Sometimes you get in a situation, you might be at a great school, a great coach. You find yourself playing a bunch of different positions, and somebody else needs you. So that an opportunity to transfer presents itself, and it's something that could benefit your career a lot of times.
This one is grounded over the head of Kevin Cash, and it will get into right field. The runner will hold up at second. That was one of those hits that had eyes right there. Perfectly bounced over Cash's head, and nothing Scott could do about it either. And the Gators have got something going here in the second.
You see the ball chop over Kevin Cash's head and just out of the reach of Sam Scott. Your base runner on first has a tough read, because if the second baseman gets that ball, you got no chance to get to third. If he doesn't come up with it, you could really walk into third base. So it's a tough play on your third base coach, and as a base runner, it's hard to recognize right off the bat what you need to do.
Well, a mound meeting as Mike Martin strolls out there. McDonald generally has real good control. He had 6 walks in 17 innings coming in. So the walk that led off this inning was the 7th, but he's got a great strikeouts to walk ratio. I think Martin just wants to make sure he gets it in control before it gets out of control right now.
Coach Martin's one of the best teachers I've ever been around in the game of baseball. He's constantly teaching. You saw a shot earlier of him in the dugout squatting down, demonstrating something to Closterman, the catcher. He's always teaching. He's worried about the end of the road, Omaha, Nebraska. This game's important, but he's going to continue to teach throughout the ball game.
Mike Floyd stands in, the designated hitter, and you can see McDonald not quite into a groove yet as that one's high and inside.
People will say he's underneath the breaking ball. You see the breaking ball staying up high to Floyd. Something you want to get out in front and snap it off. If you stay underneath it and kind of cast the pitch, it's going to stay high and not bring you that sharp break you're looking for.
Runners at first and second, and the 1-0 pitch on the way, and that one is down low. 2-0.
The crowd wanted that pitch, but you're not going to get it. If you're wild, you're not going to get a close pitch. The pitch before that was way out of the strike zone high. You can't expect an umpire to be able to call that pitch that's borderline low or close to being a strike if you're all over the strike zone. You'll get it later on once you settle down and find the zone consistently.
Runners bluff that one in off the handles. Klosterman hustles back and makes the catch. Nice job by Jeremiah Klosterman, and that's a big out for the Noles.
That is a big out. Floyd was hitting 500. 2-0 count. He's looking to really juice something. He got a fastball, but it was well in on him, ran in on his hands, and he ended up just hitting it off that grip almost.
Look at the movement on that pitch as it came inside.
Now McDonald's a ground ball away from getting out of this inning.
Well, and you got somebody that's normally a good candidate for that double play. The catcher standing in there, Todd Johannes. 1 out now. Johannes is another one of those transfers we talked about. 222 on the year. He transferred a couple of years ago from Pepperdine.
Right, and that's where Andy Lopez came from. So it wouldn't surprise me if Johannes is a guy that Andy recruited to come to Pepperdine, and then when Coach Lopez left, said, let's go. You're coming with me. So worked out good for both.
That one's inside, and count goes to 2-0. He's actually from Miami, though. Grew up a Hurricane fan. Played at a baseball factory down south, Westminster. 2-0 the count, and he's taken all the way, and McDonald finds the strike zone.
You got a 2-1 count, 1 out. Interesting to see if Florida be willing to force some action here. You got some runners out there that could run a little bit, so not a bad time to try to hit and run, open up the infield a little, try to shoot one through there.
Infield is straight away right now. They do not do what you're saying, but that's a fair ball inside the first baseline, and 1 run is in. Diaz bobbles it, and it's going to be a double for Johannes, and Florida is on the board. Keene scores, Shealy to third, Johannes with the double.
Nice piece of hitting. Got a fastball that was away from him in the strike zone. Just let the ball get into the zone where he could pound it. You don't want to go out after a baseball and try to hit it. You want to let it get deep. Watch this fastball get deep into the zone. High pitch that he just drives right down the line.
Wasn't fair by much, but doesn't have to be fair by much.
Now Florida's got a chance to have their big inning. I think 2 runs, I don't really call that a big inning. 4 or 5 runs, if somebody can put together that type of an inning, you start working on that pitcher's pitch count, get into the bullpen, then you can really take control of the ball game if you have that big inning at some point.
Hits even at 3 now. You see Klosterman peering into the dugout, looking at Mike Martin to see what the skipper has to say. Martin will call everything from his perch in there.
McDonald seems to be locating his fastball, but he hasn't found the breaking ball. You saw another one right there that stayed high in the strike zone, didn't have the sharp break that he's used to.
Well, Matt Goss is hitting .467 so far in the season, so number 9 in the order, but a pretty good stick, at least in the early going. There's a strike.
Early in the count, Goss is looking for a pitch that he can drive in a couple runs, maybe hit a deep fly ball and an easy sac fly. As he gets later into the count, the infield is back, so all he has to do is hit a ground ball to score that run.
1-1 pitch stays up top.
You see Klosterman tell him, let's go, settle down, bring the breaking ball down. Every breaking ball he's thrown has been in the exact same spot.
Well, this is a big situation for McDonald or Goss, because you got the top of the order waiting to get a shot right now, and McDonald would much rather face him with 2 outs than with 1 out and some more runs home. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that's outside. 3-1 now, and he's a bad one away from loading him up for Mark Ellis.
Goss is almost your second leadoff hitter. He's hitting in the 9th hole. He's a freshman. Coach Lopez doesn't want to put a lot of pressure on him right now. Put him in the 9th slot. Cut down on his at-bats a little bit. He's got a crucial one right here. The guy can run a little bit. Good left-handed hitter.
Just misses outside. They pitched to him carefully. Goss was 2 for 2 with runners in scoring position this year, and he had a golden chance there, and Florida State puts him aboard.
Good disciplined job of hitting. Didn't chase the ball out of the strike zone, even though he had an easy RBI opportunity. He was very patient, waited for a good pitch to hit, and never got a strike, so took the walk. Good job of being disciplined for a freshman.
McDonald's taking the walk himself, circling the mound right there, trying to regain his composure and stand in there. The bases are juiced now. You got Shealy at third, Johannes at second, Goss at first, and you got Mark Ellis standing in the box. Gators leadoff man who singled to lead off the game.
Here's where your offensive producer steps up in the situation you want him up there. Klosterman's going out to talk to McDonald. If he can't find that curveball, which he hasn't done so far, he's going to have a long day, and they're trying to go out there and settle him down. You see Klosterman indicating you're casting it. You're underneath your breaking ball. You want to get up top, snap that thing off out in front, let it start off in the strike zone, and dive down low where these guys will get a ground ball.
Florida State scurried a couple of bodies down to the bullpen there. Chris Chavez is going to start throwing. McDonald, this is fourth start of the year. Florida's got a chance to knock them out early, depending on what they do. Ellis in there. We got a 1-0 count. And this one is a single to right field, and the game will be tied, and we'll see if they wave the next runner. They're going to hold them up. Base is still loaded, and it's 2-2 as Shealy scores to knot us up.
Ellis' second base hit. You saw him lash a single to left. There he smacks one to right field. The guy can hit. Does a very good job of hitting with the bases loaded. The patience to let the ball get to you where you can drive it the other way and drive in a run. Look at that short swing, head down on the ball, shoulder, stayed on the pitcher. No chance to score the runner from second base on that. Diaz was up with it quickly. So Florida's still got him loaded with the ability to bust this thing open early.
Getting to the heart of the order. The number 2 hitter stands in there now, and that's Matt Siegel. And McDonald is searching for a force or a ground ball anywhere at this point.
That was a better breaking ball. Obviously not a strike, but at least it wasn't high and useless. That ball was sharp and down in the zone.
Siegel, the fielder's choice that forced Ellis at second back in the first inning.
There it is.
Now he seems to have found it a little bit last couple of pitches. Siegel was fooled there, and it's 1-1.
You can work on your pitches in the bullpen, you play some games, but until you get out in this atmosphere, you don't really know what it's like. There's nothing like this atmosphere.
There's the inside corner, and for the first time in a while, McDonald's ahead of a hitter at 1-2.
Siegel's going, what the heck, you know? These guys are all teeing off. I come up, he's snapping off these good curveballs all of a sudden.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah. Now he's 1-2.
Looked like Klosterman tried to set up outside. That one didn't miss by much, though. We'll even the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That was a good changeup, a good pitch. You're liable to get a ground ball out of that. The guy's out in front of it. Now you can do anything. You can come back inside with the fastball, try to get on Siegel's hands, or you can go to your hard curveball.
Defense lines up straight away. The sack's full. Inside is the pitch, and the count will go full.
A little too far inside with the fastball. Now he's got to make a pitch. This is a situation where Mike Martin likes to call a breaking pitch. The hitter's expecting a fastball. Let's see if the confidence factor with that breaking ball is there right now. He's missed with it a lot, but it's definitely a strikeout pitch when he hits.
The payoff pitch, as you said, and it's up top, and that walks home a run, and McDonald is really struggling to find it. Florida takes its first lead of the ball game as Johannes trots home. And guess what? The sacks are still full.
Next batter, left fielder, number 3, Jason Dill.
You don't want to go to the bullpen in the second inning. You start putting a lot of pressure on those guys and a lot of innings to chew up if you got to go get somebody in the second inning with 1 out. So you want to get out of this inning with your starting pitcher. Let him settle down here for you and come back out and try to battle again.
Well, there's one inside, and McDonald starts off with a strike. Dill had a fielder's choice his first trip.
Got 3-2. They're 1 hit away from busting this game wide open, and McDonald's got to do some damage control, try to get a ground ball, a strikeout.
That one is fouled off, so now he's ahead 0-2. Well, Florida's got the right guys up there. They got the middle of the order. Matter of fact, the guy that's standing in there now in the College World Series last year stood in there against Mississippi State and promptly whacked a grand slam. There's Catalanotti on deck, and he's very capable of launching one as well. Still 1 out, and they waste it outside.
Dill's looking for anything. He's kind of defensive right now. McDonald's got him on the ropes, 1-2 count. You got the bases loaded. You're thinking left field as a left-hander here, trying to drive the ball the other way, an off-speed pitch, then you'll go ahead and pull it.
Fouled into the Florida dugout. Bill really burst onto the scene last year for Florida. Was not a power guy in his high school days, but showed up last year and hit 16 after going 4 years of high school without hitting a home run. That one is inside, and Dill ducks out of there.
Not really that bad of a pitch. 1-2 count, waste one. You know, come back, now you've made the guy move around in the batter's box. He's not locked in on you. You've rushed him back. Now you got to go after him right here.
Big pitch, and the pitch will stay upstairs. Full count again. After you've already walked one home, what do you do here?
I almost think you got to go with the fastball. This is the hitter that keeps you in the ball game, or you're going to have to go to the bullpen. I got to throw my good fastball down in the zone, hopefully getting a ground ball.
We'll see the full count pitch, and it's upstairs again, and another one walks home, and McDonald just shakes his head in disgust. Florida leads at 4-2 now.
That's going to be it. Coach Martin not pleased to go out and get somebody in the second inning. He doesn't want to do it, but McDonald can't find it. His breaking pitch isn't there for him, and he hasn't been able to locate with the fastball. So to give yourself an opportunity to stay in this game, you need to get out of this inning somehow, and they're going to go get Chris Chavez.
Well, John McDonald has been a terrific pitcher for Florida State in his career, but this is not going to be one of his more memorable days, as he just couldn't find the strike zone. Martin is still out there talking to him, but McDonald had a 1.04 ERA coming in. Had thrown 17 and a third innings, but today he just lasts an inning and a third. There is still just one out in this inning. Given up 6 walks all season in 3 previous starts. Given up 4 already this inning.
Not what you would expect to see here early on. McDonald's been a guy that's come in with the breaking ball and just mowed people down. And when you can't find it and it goes south on you in a hurry, it's tough to recover against a team that's ranked 7th in the country with the ability to do so many things at the top of that batting order. It just got away from Johnny Mack, and Chris Chavez gets to come in here and keep Florida State in the ball game. He's looking at Catalanote, the cleanup hitter. Chris was a starting pitcher. Now he's settled into this middle relief role, but it can be very important. He can be a setup type guy. He can be a guy that comes in a situation like this to chew up some very valuable innings early on in a ball game. So he's a guy that has pitched a lot of innings. He's moving up the charts career-wise in strikeouts at Florida State. So a guy that can strike people out. He's got a good fastball and a very sharp curve.
Not only has he pitched a lot of innings, he's pitched a lot of big innings for Florida State. ACC tournaments, he's been in there the final game. A couple years ago when Florida State won it down in St. Petersburg, he closed out the tournament championship against Clemson, I believe. So Chavez has pitched in a lot of big games, a lot of tight situations.
Mike Martin continues to teach. He's teaching these guys something they can carry on the next time they're out there in their situation.
Well, Martin's obviously a bit distressed that he had to go to the pen this early. The base is still loaded. You got Ellis at third, Matt Siegel at second, and down at first is Jason Dill, and most of them got there with free passes. Although Ellis had a sharp single to right, an RBI single. So Chavez in there starts off with a ball to Greg Catalanote, who was the only strikeout victim by John McDonald. Here is the 1-0 pitch from Chavez upstairs, and new pitcher, same story as he goes 2-0.
You're in a situation, you come in the ball game, you got to be fine. You got the bases loaded. You can't come in and just go right down the middle with anything. You have to try to be precise with your pitches. Now he's 2-0, so he's got to come up with a big pitch right here.
Inside corner, strike one.
Now you're back in the count. You see this fastball, Klosterman set up away. Chavez misses inside, but still gets the pitch. Tony Thompson stuck with it. Very good call.
Klosterman brought it back in there to frame that thing up as a strike. This one could be two. There's one at second. The fire on to first, and Florida State escapes further trouble. Chris Chavez comes out of the pen, throws 3 pitches, and Florida State escapes what could have been major damage against the Gators. But it's a 4 spot anyway, and Florida takes the lead 4-2.
What is speed vision? What makes you want to mortgage your house? It's hiking in and Schumacher getting busy when you four-wheel drifting the family car. It's that Harley your wife made you sell. You know, your ex-wife. It's getting vertical on a full burner, cutting the light for a 320 run. It's Amelia and her Electra. It's all the greatest racing flicks from the big screen. That's speed vision. You want it bad.
This month, the season revs up with live qualifying from the North Carolina 400, AMA Arena Cross, the All-Pro Driving Series, and James Garner, starring in the Academy Award-winning film Grand Prix.
To get speed vision added to your cable channel lineup, call toll-free 1-888-22-SPEED. While the 99 season is just revving up.
Florida has jumped on top of Florida State with a big 4 spot in the top of the second inning, but Florida State, especially John McDonald, believed that it wasn't even worse than that.
You talk about tailor-made. You get the 3-hopper right out to your second baseman, just what the doctor ordered for Florida State.
Catalanotti made it close down at first because the ball wasn't hit that hard, but you see Steve Manders brings him up down at first, and John McDonald's new best friend is Chris Chavez. Start of the bottom of the second, Groves just reaches out and weakly lifts that one over third base, and it's the shortstop that ranges over to make the catch, Mark Ellis.
Mark Ellis is a good athlete, very smooth defensively, got a good arm. He's not a maximum effort guy. He doesn't look like he's going 120% on every play. He makes it look easy. That's a sign of a good infielder. Look at Siegel. He's got his back turned. He's running around out there like Christopher Columbus, but Ellis just slides over there and makes the easy play. That's how you draw it up.
There's a strike. Chris Smith, the batter, 233 his average, 1 homer, 6 RBI. Bottom third of the order, as you alluded to, Link. Doesn't have the average up there yet for Florida State, but it'll get there. Really, when you look at the lineup, it's a lot of the new guys that have carried the team and some of the returning guys that are struggling like Brett Groves and Kevin Cash to find themselves a little bit.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. Chris Smith, the guy drafted in the 11th round by the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's got the talent, good speed, got some power. He also pitches. Guy gets it up there 90-plus miles an hour. So we're talking about an exceptional talent in Chris Smith.
He's behind 0-2 right now, though, and this one is just foul. Almost went over the bag there, but it stayed foul, so we'll do it again.
Count. McClendon comes with that slow curveball and maybe even a little too close to the strike zone for Andy Lopez. He's looking for the game within the game out of McClendon. He's not looking for this pitch doing such and such. He's looking for location and how you... My goodness.
Did you say location, Link? Well, that one obviously just got away from McClendon, and the fans break into the air ball.
That's not the location we're talking about. He only missed by 10 or 12 feet there. So now what do you do as a hitter? Now he'll probably snap off a good breaking.
Boy, stayed outside, and the count evens at 2-2. Well, we checked Chris Smith's reflexes, and everything seems to be in good order. One out here in the bottom of the second. Florida's on top 4-2, and that one's inside, and Smith started to go. They don't appeal on that one.
That is a good pitch. He did not swing at it. I'm almost surprised Tony Thompson didn't ring him up. But again, you talk about location. The guy just throws one 6 feet over the batter's head. Then he comes back and paints on the inside corner. But it's tough for the umpire to make that call.
Full count pitch. This one is smoked right at Mark Ellis, who moves about 2 feet and puts the glove there. And Smith will sit down. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the second. nice job there in that at-bat, though, after falling behind 0-2.
Number 9, Carl Jernigan.
Hit a couple balls hard, just wasn't fortunate enough to find a hole. That was a good at-bat. That's one you go back with and you're a little bit pleased, even though you made an out.
As pleased as you can be in that situation, I guess. Back to the top of the order, and Carl Jernigan's up there. He struck out to lead off the bottom half of the first, the only strikeout victim by McClendon. And he takes a strike right there. Jernigan was the left fielder a year ago. Moved over to control center this season. This one is fouled off to the right side, way out of play behind the bleachers.
We've been talking a lot about Matt McClendon's leadership role that he's going to have to fulfill this year. And here's a good example. Your team comes out, gets you 4 runs in an inning, brings you the lead right back. So now you got to go out there and shut them down. Be the team leader. Get us right back in the dugout and let us try to score some more runs for you.
Well, Jernigan takes one for the team and will head down to first. McClendon has had some problem with his control a little bit. He's
On next is the third baseman, number 31, Marshall McDougall.
Sometimes that's good. If you're bringing it 90 plus.
That can work in your favor a little bit. There he just missed with the fastball inside and hit Carl Jernigan, but you'd rather miss there occasionally than out over the plate all the time. So not so bad.
Well, Jernigan's on at first. He's got some good wheels, and right away McClendon gives him a look over.
I talked about Mark Ellis and how easy he makes shortstop look. Marshall McDougall makes hitting look easy. It doesn't ever look like he's out of control. He looks very relaxed. Everything he does is simple. Watch his stroke. There's nothing complicated. He's just short, quick, and to the ball.
Jernigan wandered a little too far off first base there, and Todd Johannes gave him a warning and fired down there. Jernigan leads FSU in steals with 4. Get a good look at Johannes.
I don't think Jernigan would run early in the count. Maybe later. But you want to let Marshall McDougall go ahead and swing away. He's ahead in the count. Let him get a good pitch and try to drive it. The guy's been hitting the ball so well, you don't want to take the bat out of his hand. As you get on into the count, we get to a 2-2 count, then I think you see Jernigan run.
Well, McDougall popped out his first time. Johannes made the catch over by the dugout here. We got a 1-1 pitch. McDougall lays off. He thought it was low or outside, and it's called a strike, so it's 1-2.
Good breaking pitch on the outside corner. Not much you can do as a hitter with this one. It's a good pitch. Tony Thompson gives you that one once you settle in and get your location.
Now McDougall's got to protect the plate. It's 1-2. Jernigan is the runner down at first. He was hit by a pitch.
I would think McClendon would probably come back with a fastball here, so maybe not the best pitch to run on. I'd wait one more run if I was Jernigan.
Dives back in there, gets the uniform dirty. He was a great football player in high school, too. Hurt his shoulder and came to Florida State.
Here comes the fastball in. Now I'm running.
That evened the count at 2-2. I don't know that that one was inside as McDougall made it look, but it worked for him.
That's a good pitch. That's where you want to be right there, 1-2. Now you come back. He can throw his fastball in, away, or his breaking pitch. I would run right here.
Jernigan holds up. McDougall does not. He lifts this one deep to right field, and this one is out of here. A 2-run shot for Marshall McDougall, and we are tied up at 4 apiece. They hold the runner. They let McDougall swing, and it's a new ball game.
Well, the guy's hitting 450. Takes a pretty good pitch down in the strike zone and just drives the ball to right field. Beautiful piece of hitting.
Well, Carl Jernigan scored on the play, but it's McDougall who homers.
Look at this pitch. That's not a bad pitch. You're just talking about a guy that is locked in right now. Everything he's doing is going right. Drives the ball out over the screen to right field. That ball was hit well. The wind's blowing out a little bit, but not a factor. That ball's gone.
Well, that one was a little different than the 2 deep doubles we saw in the first, where they were kind of fly balls. You had to wait to see where they were going. That one Could hear it when he smacked it. And that gives him the home run lead for Florida State now early in the season, his 4th of the year and 2 more RBI. He was already leading in that category anyway over this guy, Matt Diaz.
Matty Diaz, another guy with a simple swing. You see him spread out a lot, not much movement with his head or with his lower body. He just uses those big, strong hands.
Well, this one didn't get much on it. Ellis will charge in, off balance, throws across the diamond, and Diaz will sit down. But not before Florida State strikes back off the big bat of Marshall McDougal. Diaz and the Seminoles are once again even. It's 4-4 in Tallahassee.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Deardorff. Where would you go for a home equity loan? Let's ask. Well, banks have the best rates.
But banks only lend money when you don't need it.
Advanta National Bank is different. They lend money to people when they need it.
Right. With my credit?
They made their first loans 45 years ago to teachers who had trouble borrowing. They helped out when others wouldn't.
This is a bank, right?
With customers who get the flexibility only a national bank can offer, right over the phone.
Got to move all your accounts there.
Nope, just call Advanta. One of their loan specialists will show you how to use the equity in your home to pay off all of your bills. Get one low monthly payment and save hundreds of dollars a month, plus a tax deduction.
You'll wait for some board to approve.
You'll get fast approval over the phone. And your money in about 10 days. You don't need to have money in the bank to get money from a bank. To get the loan you want, call Advanta at 1-800-398-6880. You'll see they're different. Hey, they don't keep bankers' hours either.
The Kroger St. Jude semifinals, tonight at 9:30 on Sunshine.
Beautiful Westcott Fountain here in Tallahassee. Today's Florida State baseball game on Sunshine Network is brought to you by Sprint Yellow Pages, the most read Yellow Pages. It is a gorgeous afternoon at Dickhausen Stadium as we move to the 3rd inning. 4-4 is our score. Beautiful day and pretty good baseball game to go with it. Back and forth so far, as you'd expect when the Gators and Seminoles get together. Well, now we'll see what Chris Chavez does as he comes out here to start it. He really got FSU out of a sticky situation. On 3 pitches, got a double play ball. Now it's kind of his game more or less for FSU. He's got a chance to go in there and give FSU some significant innings.
Yeah, he does. He's got a chance to come in, get a win. He can hold these guys, and Florida State can score some runs. So it's a great opportunity for Chris Chavez to come in and just continue building on a good career.
Well, Keene will lead things off for the Gators against Chavez, who has thrown 8 1/3 innings coming into this ball game today. But as we mentioned, he's been a starter throughout his career. There's the bender that misses low. .2-0 now for Chavez on Kurt Keene, the second baseman who walked and scored the first run of the game last inning for Florida. This one he'll swing and foul off.
Kurt Keene had numerous freshman All-American honors as a freshman up at Tennessee. So this is a guy that's been around the college game, been around the Southeastern Conference. He knows what big-time baseball is all about. He's just trying to fit in here with his new teammates at Florida.
That one was a good poke, but it's to straightaway center field, and ranging back to make the catch is Jernigan. If you're going to hit it like that, you want to go left or right with it in this ballpark.
Keene hit that ball well, but it's a long way to dead center. Like you said, Tom, anywhere else, that ball's big-time trouble.
Geez, Chavez thought it was deeper than that. He was upset with that pitch and the resulting swing. This one is smacked, and it's right off the glove at second of Scott, and it'll probably be scored a base hit. Now FSU needs to hurry and get that baseball back into the infield. Ryan Shealy got a good rip at that one.
I think that's Ryan's first base hit this year, because he got one in the second inning, actually. So his 2 hits of the season have come in this ball game. That's good. You're coming in as a freshman. You don't want to get off to a bad start. You want to come in and get those first couple hits out of the way, get that average up there somewhere where it makes you happy in the 300 area. So it's good to see him getting that goose egg out of the hit column.
made it look easy against Chavez. There's one out in the inning as Shealy's down at first, and you got Mike Floyd in there now. Floyd fouled out, and it was a great play by Klosterman. That was in the middle of that big Gator rally. Florida might still be hitting if Klosterman hadn't made that out.
Yeah. You see Chavez drop down. That's something he's added this year. Jamie Shoup and Chris have worked on this a lot. Just adds another couple pitches. He'll throw a fastball and a curveball, almost three-quarter sidearm. So that adds a little bit more to Chris's repertoire there. There you see it.
And Floyd was completely fooled, and he'll take the bat, head back to the dugout. Nice work for Chavez.
You see the three-quarter arm slot and the sweeping breaking ball. The ball just dives away from the hitter. Doesn't go down as much as it goes out away from the right-handed hitter.
Floyd needed a longer bat is what he needed. Johannes in there now. He singled and scored his last trip. I beg your pardon. He had the double down the right field line. That really got Florida going, and that was a good at bat. This one is popped up shallow right field and foul territory actually, and Kevin Cash does a nice job. Had to locate that baseball, but he puts a glove on it and makes the catch. Chris Chavez mows down the Gators there. Didn't allow a hit, but Florida State and Florida are still even at 4-4.
Are you ready for some high-scoring, heart-stopping, helmet-popping action? Arena football is coming to town. Starting in April, the indoor war and the Florida Bobcats will blast into the new National Car Rental Center in Broward County for the first time. For season tickets that start at just $53, call 1-877-BOBCAT-99. Come see the Bobcats roar through the league and match up with interstate rivals, the Tampa Bay Storm, and Arena Bowl champions, the Orlando Predators. Season tickets are going fast. Call 1-877-BOBCAT-99. Game tough, fan-friendly, the Florida Bobcats.
Log on. It's tournament time, and time to enter the Sunshine Network Pick 64 Pool Party, presented by Hip Health Plan of Florida. Between March 7th and March 11th, log on to SunshineNetwork.com and complete the tournament bracket. From the field of 64 to the national champs, every round counts. You can win a big screen TV from Sears, a set of Gary Player golf clubs, and other great prizes. So log on and pick your favorites for the Sunshine Network Pick 64 Pool Party. Brought to you by Hip Health Plan of Florida.
For more insight into the Seminoles and sports in Florida, click on SunshineNetwork.com, offering news, notes, and opinions by some of the state's best sports columnists and reporters. SunshineNetwork.com, your web source for Florida sports. Bill Fay does a great job online for Sunshine Network. Got a great game going here this afternoon. Bottom of the third inning, it's 4-4. The Gators have moved ahead in the hit column, but Florida did all its damage for Andy Lopez in one inning. FSU so far has been good for a two-spot in each of its trips against Matt McClendon, and we'll see what they do here as we hit the third inning, and John Alladay stands in there.
This is what we call a dogfight, man. You got two teams just going right at it. You got a lot of baseball left to be played, and it's been exciting so far. See which team can walk away with that big inning. 4 runs might not be the biggest inning you're going to see.
So far, it's had the makings as one of those whoever's going to get the last at-bat type games. Although it is early here and the pitchers will probably settle down. It's 0-2 now to Alladay. Outside, but not by much.
Very good 0-2 pitch. That's what McClendon needs to do. Gets ahead. You don't want to come back over the heart of the plate. Not even on this pitch. You got one more to work with.
This one is grounded, and it's going to be a foul ball, although it was scooped up by Shealy at first. They'd have had him down at first. Instead, Alladay will get another crack.
Shealy had the animal written by his name on the lineup card, so he's a big old monster down there at first base. I guess that's his nickname. Andy Lopez just wrote the animal. So he's a big guy. Got his first couple hits today, so he's feeling pretty good.
When a 6'5" guy tells you that's his nickname, you go with it. Well, Alladay's a 6'5" fella himself, which is a bit different when you look at the Florida State lineup this year.
Exactly.
You look at that recruiting class, and all of a sudden you see guys that are 6'1", 6'2", 6'5" guy in there, a little bigger than what they brought in years past.
I like the mixture. You got some guys that can run. You got some big guys. You got some guys that can bunt, do certain things. They got a nice mixture throughout their lineup. adds a lot of things to your weapons as a ball club.
Count is evened at 2-2, and it's fouled off again and heads up in the stands.
We've played 11 games so far. Florida State has not put down a sacrifice bunt yet. Now, if you go back 5, 6 years when I played for Florida State, we're bunting the first game. You know, the first, second inning, we're going to try to bunt, but Coach Martin does such a good job of using what he has. It hasn't come up yet. He's got some guys that are swinging the bat real well. So now he's letting that big inning come about. You know, he's not really using the bunt as much.
Well, you go out to the World Series enough and watch LSU hit home runs every other at bat. You decide to get a 6'5" guy for yourself. Heads up again as that caroms off the overhang here at Dick Hauser.
Got a good battle going here. Halliday's hanging tough, fouled off some tough pitches. McClendon's coming right at him.
Count is full after McClendon had him 0-2. And once again, fouled back. And again, a chance for the Florida State faithful or whoever recovers that baseball to play hide the baseball before they make you give it back. There is Andy Lopez, who was drafted by the Tigers out of UCLA and turned him down. Went right into coaching. Finished up his schoolwork. This one is to left field, but it's going to curve into the bleachers as well. This is quite a duel we've got going here.
I like this. McClendon's best pitch is the fastball, and he keeps coming after him with a good fastball. It's 3-2. You don't want to get cute. Throw your best pitch. Try to locate it and see what happens.
Halliday set single season and career records for home run and RBI at his community college. This time he'll go back to the dugout searching for answers. McClendon wins that fight.
Good at bat. That was a good battle. You like to see that out of McClendon, coming at this guy. Finally comes back inside with the fastball. Kind of crosses up Halliday. Everything else has been out away from him. Now he comes back in and gets the strikeout.
So Sam Scott steps in. One down. That was just the first batter of this inning. Scott doubled last trip up, doubled in Halliday as a matter of fact. At the time giving FSU a 2-zip lead. This one is right back up the middle, and it's a good thing McClendon's not any taller. Sharp smack by Sam Scott.
He's 2 for 2. The fastball right down the middle, and Sam hits it right back where it came from.
Number 25, Jeremiah Klosterman.
So the hits are even at 5 once again. Our game is still tied at 4-4, and now Klosterman will stand in there. He drew a walk last trip up. But this one is grounded, and a nice play. Step on first. They'll have to make the tag at second, and they do not. And Scott wanted to go to third, but he was tied up. If he had it to do it again, I wonder if Shealy might not go to short first and then come back on
Well,
it. He was so close to the bag, though.
You got to go with your first instinct. If your first reaction is to go ahead and step on first base, then the animal just better go ahead and step on first base.
Kevin Cash.
If he makes a good throw, he's going to get him, but I think he made the right decision. He was right there by the bag, and you got to go with your first instinct. So if the animal felt like stepping on the bag, then you got to let the animal go ahead and do it his way.
Easy for me to argue. I'm pretty far away from him right now, right? Well, there's a runner at second now, and Kevin Cash has got a chance to bring home a lead run. I'll tell you who did a nice job on that play is Mark Ellis. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but he did a nice job of just tying Scott up enough so he couldn't move over to third. Kind of took his time getting up, because if Scott got up right away, he'd have made third no problem.
Right, I'm sure that was intentional. That's a good, smart baseball play. You know the ball's in the outfield, but hold that base runner up as long as you can and stop him from taking the next base.
So Scott stays at second, and Cash takes a big swing and a miss right there. 2-1 the count now. Cash, as we talked about, has struggled to find his groove. He did have a real big home run, though, against Arizona State.
Kevin's a ball player, man, a hard worker. He comes out here every day ready to play. Came as a shortstop. Now he's playing first base. I guarantee you he gets on track before it's all said and done. guy's got baseball blood all throughout his family. His uncle Ron played here at FSU. His dad played in the Phillies and Giants organization, so this guy's been around the game his whole life.
Count is 3-1 as McClendon delivers, and Cash watches ball 4 and will stroll down to first. That'll put the pressure on Brett Groves to come up with a 2-out base hit.
We've talked about this 2 or 3 times already.
Number 1, Brett Groves.
In situations, but it's having trouble closing out the inning. You want to see him 2 hitters ago close out the inning. Now he's thrown 10, 11 more pitches, and that adds up through the course of a ball game and a season. So this is the thing that has kept McClendon from being the dominant pitcher that everyone knows he can be.
Big opportunity for Brett Groves now. Seminole shortstop. Fouled out in his first trip.
Brett was drafted in the 6th round by the Atlanta Braves back in '97, so the talent level with Brett is unlimited. The guy can run, he's got good hands, a good arm. He's trying to develop his offensive game a little bit.
Did a nice job last year. Matter of fact, had the highest fielding percentage ever for a freshman shortstop at Florida State. That wasn't meant to rub anything in there, Link.
He had a good solid freshman year. You come in here as a freshman, it's a different ball game. You haven't played in front of 6,000 people. The level of baseball that you're playing here, it's not like high school. So to come in as a freshman, settle into a starting role and produce as well as Brett has done last year and then continuing this year, that's saying a lot about a player's ability.
1-2, he's behind and tries to go the other way, but fouls it off. Was that your record that he got, by the way, Link? Because I didn't look at that part. I just looked at he set the record.
Yeah, I think it probably was my record.
Well,
yeah,
you can make me pay for that later.
You tend to make some errors as a freshman because it's just a different ball game. It's a long season, something you're not really used to. 70 games is a lot.
Inside, Groves turns, and McClendon doesn't get the call, so we're even at 2-2. This is the same trouble McClendon had last inning. He got 2 outs, then hit Jernigan and lost McDougal on that home run. So now we've got 2 on, 2 outs, and a 2-2 pitch on the way, and again, just misses inside. Matt was headed to the dugout. Thought he had that one.
Yeah, Matty spotted the fastball pretty well. You see Andy Lopez over there hoping that we can get out of this inning. Get us out of here, Matty. Let's go. End this inning. Get us back in the dugout. Pretty darn good pitch right there. Brett Groves is on top of the plate, so that ball looked inside, but obviously pretty close.
3-2 pitch, and this one is to center field, and ranging over to make the catch is Goss. He misplayed it at first, headed back, and then had to head to his right. But McClendon gets out of trouble in Florida State for the first time today. Doesn't score a run in the inning. It's 4-4 as we head to the 4th.
Creative design excellence, technological advancement, space-age innovations, 21st century quality. It's the best in fitness, health, conditioning, toning, and muscle development. The Soloflex muscle machine. We've designed one for your body. Call now for a free brochure.
Breakfast with the Gators, the most important meal of the week. It's Gator Tail. Then the Lady Gators take on the Lady Bulldogs in an SEC showdown. Breakfast with the Gators, tomorrow morning at 8:30 on Sunshine. Get in the game. Or get off the ice. The Devils will attempt to score on demand. Can clever play give the Lightning the upper hand? New Jersey versus Tampa Bay, Monday night at 7 on Sunshine.
We are at Dick Howser Stadium in Tallahassee. Florida State, Florida baseball. The rivalry renewed yet again. 4-4 our score in the 4th. Absolutely picture-perfect day here in Florida's capital city. Stadium capacity of 5,000 now here at Dick Howser. They used to cram a lot more than that in here.
Yeah, they did.
They still do. I am Tom Block along with Link Jarrett.
They used to cram 6,000, maybe and some change in here. I remember some of the Florida series, Miami, Arizona State. Back when I played, we had a little more bleacher space. Those big old wooden bleachers that took up the whole left and right field lines now has been replaced by some nice aluminum bleachers. But they used to be able to pack them in down there like sardines. So they've improved Hauser Stadium greatly.
All-time record here, 61-45, and that was against Miami. This one is fouled back, and we'll do it again. Chavez did a nice job and has done a nice job since he came in. Now he's working against Matt Goss, who walked last time up. Walked and scored the 4th run and was fooled right there. And he's quickly 0-2.
Good changeup by Chris Chavez to Matt Goss, who came in here and battled. This guy wasn't handed an outfield position. He came in here as a freshman, earned his spot in preseason. The guy's worked hard, and he's off to a great start for the University of Florida through 4 games.
That one fouled, so it remains 0-2. Well, sometimes it forces you to really battle when you're in situations like that, when you're fighting for a job. Saw what he did to introduce himself to the Florida baseball program there with that big hit against Miami.
That stuff matters, man. You get off to a good start as a freshman, your confidence builds, you see what you can do at this level of baseball, and it helps you, man. It helps you to settle in and have a good career. You get off to a good start.
Chavez has gone 2-2 now after being out in front 0-2.
Goss had a good at-bat last time, ended up walking, didn't chase any pitches with runners on 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. So the guy is a patient hitter, looks like a very polished hitter.
He's showing his patience right here in this at-bat as the count has run full. A good look into the Florida State dugout. Talented group down there, and Chavez loses them. And Goss, for the 2nd straight at-bat, draws a walk.
Chavez wanted that pitch right there. I don't blame him. The ball was possibly down, but usually you see that pitch called.
Missed by too much there.
Very close.
Goss left the bat on the shoulder the whole time, though. Thought it was low. Left it there, and he's on first with the base on ball. So we're back to the top of the order. Mark Ellis has done a nice job for his average today. He's 2 for 2. A couple of singles and an RBI.
Both of our pregame show candidates here were off to good starts in this ball game. Ellis has 2 hits. McDougal has the big home run. So these guys are offensively oriented. Ellis a good shortstop, but this guy has been so consistent offensively in his 4 years that he's a guy you just have to talk about every time he comes to the plate.
Well, you know, you look at it, he's got a lot of power. You don't normally associate that with a leadoff hitter, but he gets on so much that Andy Lopez wants to leave him in the leadoff spot when really he's 5th all-time in Florida history in career home runs, I believe, coming in, and has a chance to move up a couple of rungs on that ladder before he's done as a leadoff guy.
Hit 14 home runs last year, 338 average in 98. For his career, he's 337. So you know what you're going to get with Mark Ellis every time he comes to the park.
And it's a pretty good single to left, and he is 3 for 3 now on the day, and Chavez has got runners at 1st and 2nd. Nobody out here.
The guy's a baseball player. What more can you say, man? 3 hits. The guy knows how to play the game.
Well, the first 2 came against Florida State starter McDonald. This time his first chance against Chavez, and he hit it every bit as hard as the previous 2 trips. Well, Chavez came into the game when Florida State was in trouble, had the bases loaded and got a double play ball. Now he's created the trouble for himself right here. 1st and 2nd, nobody out.
Yeah, I like the way Chris Smith came over and attacked that ball. There's a chance that base runner Goss could get to 3rd base on that hit by Ellis, but the way Chris Smith went over there and cut it off, kept the base runner at 2nd, and then you take yourself out of a 1st and 3rd situation with no out.
Goss at 2nd, Ellis at 1st, Siegel the batter. Fielder's choice and a walk for Matt Siegel. Shows bunt, takes a strike.
Steve Kling running through the signs. Steve used to be a batting practice pitcher for the White Sox, so you got some good BP when you step in with him throwing to you.
I'm sure he could share some Frank Thomas stories.
The Big Hurt probably hit 200 home runs off of Steve Kling in batting practice.
Well, that's like a Medal of Honor, though, if you're a BP pitcher.
Yeah, you're trying to serve it up.
There's another strike. I'm sure that whoever throws most of the batting practice for the Cardinals tell some stories. Yeah, McGuire hit 70 during the game, but how many did he hit before the game? 0-2 now.
Siegel show bunt for strike one and then didn't show bunt on the 0-1 pitch. So now he's in the hole 0-2 with runners on first and second, nobody out. You got a situation here developing for another big inning. Wouldn't expect to see a bunt with 2 strikes, but in the game of college baseball, it's never out of the question. You're kind of getting into the heart of your order, so it's pretty unlikely that Siegel would bunt here.
Still nobody down, 0-2, and Chavez tried to get him to go fishing outside, but he lays off. Siegel walked onto this Florida team a couple of years ago. Earned a spot back in '96. Moved him around from second to third. Now on the 1-2 pitch, he lays off. Klosterman hustles out in front to make sure no runners advance.
Chip Baker does a great job working with these catchers. Jeremiah just went right down to his knees, kept his head down, and it stayed right in front of that baseball. Chip has coached a ton of great catchers throughout his career here at Florida State. Pedro Grifol, Mark Ronan, the list goes on and on of guys that have played in the big leagues.
That one just misses inside, and Chavez is feeling like he can't get a call. He had him 0-2, and he's gone full again. Same thing he did to Goss.
Chavez is a fan favorite. You know what the guy's thinking. There's no secrets out there with him. If he thinks the call should have been a strike, he'll let you know. And it's fun to watch a guy pitch like that. Runners might be going here.
They are not. It is swung on and grounded. Kevin Cash makes the force at first, and that's the only play. That was a nice job.
Kevin's made some good plays over at first base. Not a first baseman coming into Florida State as a freshman. The guy was a shortstop, a third baseman, and slowly he's worked his way over there, settled in at first base, and he's a good athlete. He saw the runner in glove trying to open up a hole in the infield, but Kevin Cash was able to make a nice play.
And that was the only play. Step on first. See Cash wearing the number 6 this year. Or number 13 a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to go ahead and put Jason Dill on to set up the force. There's one out in this inning. Well, you set up the force, but you're rolling the dice on Greg Catalanotti, who's the cleanup hitter.
Now, they've played against Catalanotti numerous times, so they might have a good idea of how to pitch him, what he does in certain situations. So it's hard to say exactly what they're thinking, other than you load the bases up with one out, you're out of it with a double play ball.
Well, Catalanotti is the guy that hit the double play ball when Chavez came out and got Florida State out of trouble. And Greg has also struck out, so FSU's had his number today. Flip side of that is he's due. 0 for 2, bases.
Next batter is the right fielder, number 22, Greg Catalanotti.
Greg hit 360 last year, and you see Coach Martin telling his infielders, stay back. We'll get the double play at second base if the opportunity presents itself. Kevin Cash, go ahead and back on up. You got a big left-handed hitter in there. You don't want to shorten up and take a chance of letting the ball get by you down the line.
There is ball 1.
I remember Catalanotti hitting some balls out of here last year at the broadcast we did. He hit a couple home runs almost into that circus tent in right field over the big screen. So he's got the ability to drive the ball to the park.
That one is just nubbed weakly down the right field line. The count will even hit a ball and a strike.
There you see the top of the circus tent. The Gators come to town and the circus tent goes up every year about the same time. J.D. Drew and some of the big guys can hit that tent when they get a hold of one.
There's strike 2, and big chance here for Chavez. There's one out, and the bases are juiced. Catalanotti this year does not have a hit with runners in scoring position. He's 0 for 5 now. This one is grounded foul again. And it will remain 1-2.
Cavalinote hit .360 last year with 13 home runs, 61 RBIs. So a guy that will produce some numbers offensively. He's up there in the situation ideal for your cleanup hitter. Got the bases juiced.
1-2 pitch is popped up deep to left center field. Jernigan and Smith are both there, and it's going to be Smith.
You'd like everybody to go ahead and tag up on that ball, so when they throw it to third base, what a throw by Smith. It's a double play, a run scores, but the out at third.
5-4 Florida, but Chris Smith comes up gunning. And Chris Chavez gets the untraditional DP to escape further trouble.
You got to tag up on this ball, man. It's plenty deep enough. Let's take a look here. See if he gets in or not.
We'll watch again when we come back. Florida takes the lead, 5-4.
There's something comfortable about that old familiar routine. Sometimes it's just plain easier, but not always smarter. You see, just because you've always done something one way doesn't mean there aren't other, better possibilities. Take auto insurance, for example. No matter how long you've been writing the same big checks to the same insurance agent year in and year out, you just might like dealing directly with us much more. You might like saving hundreds of dollars on solid, reliable protection with the AIG Auto Insurance Program. You might even get attached to all the money-saving discounts we offer. Most important, if you ever do have an accident, you're sure to appreciate solid protection from one of the largest and most reliable names in insurance. And dealing direct is easy. Just pick up your phone and call 1-888-AIG-AUTO now. Go ahead. Do something a little different today. Call 1-888-AIG-AUTO now. Get your car insurance a better way and save.
Florida reclaims the lead 5-4 on that fly ball by Greg Catalanotti, but a terrific job defensively by Chris Smith. It was a close play there at third, but they rung Ellis up, so it's a double play, and Florida only gets one run. And wouldn't you know that the guy who made the play is the guy who stands in there now to bat for Florida State, and that is the left fielder, Chris Smith.
You take a look at the throw Chris Smith made. His only shot is to throw a good one-hop throw that's down. You take a look at the ball. It's right on the money. McDougal does a nice job of making the tag.
I think he was in there. They called him out. Looked like maybe his feet were in there before the tag, and Chris Smith is set down as he grounds out to second. But nevertheless, it was a great throw.
Very good play. Good base running play. You got to try to tag up on that. I don't see anything wrong with that. That ball's deep. You're forcing the action. The guy throws you out at third base. Even though it's a third out, I think you take that chance in that situation. A lot of people will say, well, you don't want to because a base hit's going to score your guy anyway from second base, but I don't mind that play right there.
Jernigan bluffs bunt and takes strike one. Jernigan struck out. He was hit by a pitch his last trip. Still looking for his first hit of the game. This one is smacked to right field, but it's popped up, and Greg Catalanotti will stroll over lazily and make the catch. 2 up, 2 down.
That's what we've seen from Matt McClendon early in the inning. The guy will get his first 2 out. Now he comes back with a chance to get a quick inning. And you want that. The guy's given up 4 runs, so his pitch count is up there. But he can get out of here quick, not throwing that many pitches at all.
Well, here's the guy who did him in back in the second and tied us up at 4. Although Florida has since reclaimed the lead. Marshall McDougal.
Watch how simple Marshall McDougal's trigger, his stride, everything is nice and quiet. It never looks like he's off balance or his timing is off. He always looks like he's in sync. Watch those hands just go back, ready to hit.
Takes a strike right there.
He makes it look easy. Guy's just a good hitter.
6'1", 190-pound JUCO transfer. From down at Santa Fe. MVP both years there. He's been drafted twice already, once by the White Sox, once by the Yankees. I don't go 3-1. Speaking of the Yankees, do they really need Roger Clemens too? Is that fair?
I don't think they really needed him, but if you have an opportunity to get a player of that caliber, it's hard to pass it up.
Oh, I'm not questioning the decision. So, you're not happy if you're in the American League and you're not the Yankees. So there's strike 2. Full count now on McDougal.
What New York did last year was unbelievable. I don't care who you have coming in this year, it's going to be hard to duplicate that type of season.
Full count pitch, McDougal lays off and draws ball 4. He had a notion, but he held back. Well, same story.
We talked about it a lot. Had the chance to get out of the inning very quickly. Now he's back in with runner on first in the heart of the order.
First inning, he got the first 2 outs, then gave up 2 runs. Second inning, he did the same thing. 2 outs, then 2 runs. Third inning, he got the first out before giving up a single. And he ended up escaping that inning without Florida State scoring. And now here in the 4th, he got the first 2 outs and now walks McDougal. Look at the number of pitches. We're just in the 4th inning. He's thrown 85 already.
You'd like to be around 60. 15 an inning is about where you want to be. So he's a little bit ahead of it. And he had the chance to really get out of this inning with only throwing 10, 11 pitches. And you like that, man. Mark Ellis comes right in. He knows what's going on. He goes, look, you're 2-0 now, bear down. Let's get out of this thing. You don't want to serve up a pitch here and have them regain the lead 6-5. You got to bear down. The more I see Mark Ellis, the more I like the guy, man. He knows how to play the game.
2-0 is the count right now on a pretty good hitter in Matt Diaz, and there is strike 1. Diaz didn't like it. He turned around and said, where was it? Outside corner, I guess. Now he digs in again. 2-1 pitch is bounced to third. They'll try to get the force at second, but it's thrown into right field. Runner will hold up, and Siegel misfired on what would have been a routine play. He could have gone to first to get the out also. And instead, Diaz is on at first, and that's our first error of the ball game.
The ball was hit so hard, Siegel comes up with it cleanly and had plenty of time to make a throw. It almost looked like he aimed the ball over to second base instead of just go ahead, set your feet, and fire the ball.
Well, Halladay stands in there. I'll tell you what, the reason that Siegel is at third and not second is because last year he had a problem on the routine throw from second to first. They moved him to third, and he really hadn't had a problem with it. Oh, my goodness. Just tees off, but the question is it fair or foul? And it's going to be a foul ball, but wow.
I never saw that, man. I saw him hit the ball, and I still don't know where it is.
It's rolling around somewhere by that circus tent you were discussing earlier. Wow. Well, McClendon better be careful now. He is ahead 0-1. That ball was crushed. Still going up, probably. There's the ball at 1-1. Just to finish that point on Siegel, he had a little bit of Steve Sachs in him, I guess, and had trouble on the routine throw to first. They moved him to third. And because you have to react so quickly, he hadn't had a problem there. But that was the same situation. He threw it into right field.
That was basically the same throw you'd make from second base to first as a second baseman. That little flip, it's an easy throw. And sometimes it can get to be a mental thing because you have so much time and it's such an easy throw. The crowd is still oohing and ahhing about that foul ball Halladay hit. And that guy's probably wishing it was fair, man. That ball was smoked.
It's quite a shot. He's behind 1-2 now, though. Halladay is. So McClendon can still get out of it. 2 runners on, 2 outs in the inning, and this one bounces around. Nobody's going anywhere, though. Good job by Johannes.
And Johannes is a good athlete. Moves around real well behind the plate. Not your prototypical big, strong-looking catcher. More of a shortstop-looking guy. He's a real good athlete. You know, infielders like me, we kid around about the catchers saying they're not athletes, but I'd have a hard time arguing with Johannes. That guy, he's a good athlete right there.
2-2 pitch fouled back by Halladay over the roof here at Hauser Stadium. Well, Johannes had some shoes to fill in his own right, taking over for David Ross, who wasn't there long as a Gator, but had a nice year there before being drafted by the Dodgers.
David Ross was one of my high school teammates. I was a little older than him, but I used to throw to him in the bullpen. He was really only in 7th or 8th grade when I was coming up as a senior. So David Ross had a real good career at the University of Florida after he transferred from Auburn.
Florida State fans will never forget the home run he hit in the regional a couple of years ago. Ended up sending Auburn to the College World Series. Not that particular home run, but that got him back, sent FSU to a losing bracket. This one is grounded, and McClendon just charges in and has no trouble and flips over to first and gets out of further trouble. Boy, he walks the tightrope back there, that's for sure. It is 5-4, 4 innings in the book in Tallahassee.
And 2 runners left on base. Good afternoon, fans. It's time for our...
He said he knew where he was going. My husband, the human compass.
You okay?
Yeah, fine.
She knows we're lost.
I said we should have looked this antique place up, but no.
I'm a dead man.
Sprint Yellow Pages. So complete, it even helps you find those out-of-the-way places. It's the most read Yellow Pages.
How much trouble can I be in? Oh.
This is you. This is the commercial you see. This is the number you call. This is the box that comes. This is the machine you get. This is the number you call. These are the exercises you do. This is how long it takes. This is how often you do it. This is the number you call. This is how you'll feel when you're done. The SoloFlex Muscle Machine. Just $39 a month. Call now for a free brochure and video. This is the number you call.
Tune into Sunshine Network weeknights at 10 o'clock for a lively 1-hour roundtable of sports talk that includes you, the fan. You'll get a chance to call in and talk sports with some of the state's most prominent media. Sunshine Network Live, weeknights at 10, only right here on Sunshine. Today on Sunshine, we're enjoying Florida State baseball against the Florida Gators. Florida on top right now, 5-4.
We had a little dancing contest going on, I think.
We got a little promotion. Marketer's dream is a baseball game. I'm not sure what's at stake. Nice job. I think they just won the crowd over with that move right there.
That's a no-brainer, man.
Is that automatic victory if you do the flip?
Yep.
Link Jarrett says give it to that couple.
They might have needed age divisions, though.
The Link, couple number 2.
5-4 is our score, and it's been a pretty good baseball game. Florida State jumped out to a 2-zip lead. Florida came back with a 4 spot in the second to lead 4-2, and then the Noles tied it up at 4-all in the bottom half of the second. Florida reclaimed the lead last inning.
You're really seeing a classic college baseball game. A lot of hits, some home runs, doubles, some good base running plays, and some guys that have struggled to pitch. So you're seeing everything that you're used to seeing in a good, solid college baseball game against 2 top-ranked teams. You're seeing some good offense, and you know, heck, Florida State lost their first pitcher early on. He couldn't get out of the second inning, but now another guy's come out of the pen to fill this role, and he's done a great job. So you've seen a little bit of everything. A great college baseball game.
Kurt Keene in there now, takes a strike. He walked and scored the first run of the game. Lined out to center field on Carl Jernigan last time. Here's the 1-1. This is outside, it goes 2-1.
That sweeping breaking pitch, Chavez is settling in to use that, and that's something Mike Martin will do. If a pitcher's having success with a pitch, he's going to go right back to it again and again until the opponent will catch on. And so far, that sidearm sweeping breaking ball has kept Chavez right in this thing here. You see him drop down. This is something he didn't really do a couple years ago.
Good pitch there, and I beg your pardon, obviously it was 1-2 because Keene heads back to the dugout. First out of the inning, and Ryan Shealy in there now, who went 0 for Miami in the first 4 games of the year, but is 2 for 2 against Florida State so far.
And the big animal made some nice plays down at first base. big, strong guy. He was a highly recruited football and basketball player, so he's a good athlete all around.
Kevin Cash probably counted to 10, waiting for that thing to come down. Got an easy play as he took it himself.
Next batter is designated hitter number 47, Mike Floyd.
Shealy was drafted in the 5th round by the Rockies, which is the organization I play in, so had a chance to meet up with him in spring training, but he decided to come here and play his college ball.
You have called him Animal Sir or just rookie? Mike Floyd has popped up, struck out. He's in there now. Chavez has done a nice job this inning. 2 up, 2 down so far.
Floyd's a backup outfielder, had limited at-bats last year, hit .293, 1 home run and 7 RBIs, so hasn't had a lot of playing time, but get in there in that DH role and put up some good numbers and you'll work your way into that lineup somehow.
Fouled sharply. Way late though, and it is 0-2. Chavez is bearing down this inning. Seems to be anyway. He looks antsy when he's out there. He's ready. Give me the ball. I'm ready to throw again.
He is, man.
He's high strung. The way he stands on that mound, he's ready to go. And there is strike 3, and he's ready to head right back to the dugout. Chavez with his best inning so far. 1, 2, 3. The Gators go down. That has not happened so far today until that inning.
Sweeping curveball. There it is again.
Mike Floyd heads to the dugout. So does Chavez. 5-4. Florida leads.
Fishing for a deal on a new outboard motor? Get up to $700 cash back when you buy a new Suzuki outboard from 9.9 to 225 horsepower by March 31st. Use the cash to get away on a little fishing trip, buy some new tackle, even use it to buy Suzuki's extended protection plan. See your participating Florida Suzuki Marine dealer today and say, "Gimme cash." Don't let this big one get away. The Mike Martin Coaches Show. From the dugout to the diamond, the Mike Martin Show has interviews, highlights, and features to keep you current on the Seminoles. The Mike Martin Coaches Show, next Saturday at 12:30 on Sunshine. The Superior Solar Bears are set to slug it out. The Jacks have nothing to lose, so the Bears better watch out. Orlando takes on Cleveland, Sunday night at 7 on Sunshine.
Florida on top of Florida State 5-4, the first of 4 meetings between these two rivals. They annually meet a couple of times at Tallahassee, a couple times in Gainesville. Today and tomorrow they're here in the capital city, and next weekend they'll be down in Gainesville. Sam Scott, 619, his last 7 games, stands in there now. He's got a double and a single.
You're hitting 619, you got to be feeling pretty good, man. Everything you hit falling in, it's called locked in. You get locked in, every pitch looks good. You know what pitch is going to be a ball. You know what you're hitting well, and you just hit it. It's like you're not even thinking. You're in the zone. It's a great feeling.
A couple of hits today, so he's now got a 4-game hit streak.
You see it's 0-2, and you see him take that breaking ball like he knows it's coming, man. These guys, when they get rolling, they're very tough to get out. You throw the aluminum bat in the mix, and it's even harder.
1-2 now to Scott, and he lays off the outside. It will even at 2-2. Well, new regulations by the NCAA this year with the aluminum bats and what they're going to be forced to use in postseason play. The teams have been using them all year as Scott goes down. Nice job by McClendon there.
Yeah, that's a good pitch sequence. He used the fastball good. That was his 100th pitch. One of his better today. You see the fastball exactly where the catcher's mitt is, right there. That's a tough one to hit no matter where it is. You're looking for it or not, that's just a tough one to hit.
Well, Klosterman will step in. Bat barrels this year have to go from 2 3/4 to 2 5/8. And your length to width differential can only be 3 ounces, no greater.
That's much more realistic. Larry Walker, for example, used a 36-inch, 36-ounce bat against right-handed pitchers, and left-handed pitchers he dropped down to a 36-inch, 35-ounce. So you're talking about weight and length being the same. College baseball, you got to the point where they're using 34-inch, 29-ounce bats with a big, huge barrel, and it just was almost too easy for these guys offensively. Made it too hard on the pitchers, and the runs got to the point where you're talking about 15 to 14 games. The College World Series final was up in the 20s, I believe. So they're trying to make it toned down a little bit and more realistic.
And as someone who has to make his living with a wood bat now, I'm sure you'd like to say, grab the wood, fellas.
Yeah, and I saw him do it
some BP.
Arizona State. Florida State played the game with wood and totally changed the ball game. It's much heavier. The sweet spot is so much smaller that you have to be strong and very consistent with your contact point. You can't hit balls off the end of the bat or off the handle.
Next batter, number 6, first
6-3. Osterman goes down, and McClendon seems to have finally, well, I hesitate to say it because there's 2 outs, but he's
in deep trouble now. He's got 2 outs and nobody on.
FSU's got him right where they want him. Down in the count with 2 outs and nobody on. Well, Cash walked last trip, popped up before that. Bottom of the order has not done a whole lot today for Florida State.
The rest of the University of Florida staff, other than Matt McClendon, has a combined 12 starts coming into this season. So there's not much experience out there in that bullpen. They need McClendon to chew up some innings. And he was at a point in the ball game where he could have almost come out. But with the inexperience and really the lack of depth in the bullpen right now, it's tough for Coach Lopez to go down there and grab somebody in the 2nd or 3rd inning. On the other hand, you got Chris Chavez working, who came in the 2nd inning, and he's a starter, really, is what he is, but has found his role in the bullpen right now.
Well, McClendon over the century mark for pitches now. Got Cash at 1-2. There's a good look into the Florida State dugout.
Big John Rombo with the towel over his shoulder. Kevin, the equipment manager, does a great job keeping everything intact, clean, and bats ordered. Everything's first class.
Well, believe it or not, Link, both sides went 1-2-3 in the 5th inning. 5-4 is our score as the pitchers gaining the upper hand.
Tired of long lines at the car wash and high prices? You need self-wash from Blue Coral. Just watch. Spray it on and the self-cleaning formula dissolves and lifts dirt on contact. Spray it off and your car is sparkling clean. It's that easy. And Soap Wash comes with a built-in high-pressure spray gun. It's a professional car wash in a bottle. Even caked on road salt just slides away. No rubbing, no scrubbing. Amazing! Get the incredible Self-Wash from Blue Coral today. But wait, call now and get the 64-ounce refill and the new Self-Wax Power System absolutely free. It's the spray-on, spray-off car wax. No rubbing, no buffing. Incredible! All this for only $19.95. Don't wait. Call now.
Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-516-6644 or send $19.95 plus $6.95 shipping to Self-Wash, P.O. Box 2976, Framingham, Massachusetts, 01703. For faster delivery, call 1-800-516-6644.
You're looking at the Capitals here in Tallahassee, new and old. The old Capital in the forefront. Today's Florida State baseball game on Sunshine Network is brought to you by Sprint Yellow Pages, the most read Yellow Pages.
My dad's office is on the 17th floor, right above that oak tree on the left-hand side of that old Capitol. So he looks down at that old Capitol every day from the big new one.
Scenic Tallahassee, the capital city, of course, here in our Sunshine State. And if you're in the sun today at Dick Howser Stadium, you're feeling pretty good. If you're in the shade, it's a little bit chilly, just a little nip out there. Move to the 6th inning in Florida. On top of Florida State 5-4. McClendon has done a nice job of shutting down FSU. This is a Seminole team that's averaged about 11 runs a game. Didn't score quite that much against Arizona State, but FSU undefeated on the year. But that Arizona State series had a couple of close games. It's not been all easy wins for FSU.
cute little girl out here with her dad, taking a look at the ball field. Yeah, Florida State's shown a lot of balance. And you got to like their chances as a Florida State fan, man. They got deep pitching. They got a solid rotation. They got some good offense in some areas that normally they haven't had. So things are looking good right now for Florida State going into this ACC schedule. University of Florida, the tough SEC, they open with LSU, so it doesn't get any easier for Andy Lopez and his crew.
And those are the two schools that were picked to win their respective divisions in the SEC, LSU and Florida. That's exactly what he said when you talked to him about the schedule. The good thing about the schedule Florida's playing right now, you open with Miami, play FSU. I mean, you know exactly where you stand right away.
You have to find out. You don't want to go into conference play and get into the middle of that not knowing who can do what in certain situations. You got to get these guys out here and see how they react. Eventually, he's going to have to get into that bullpen and see how those guys react. He knows what Matt McClendon, Mark Ellis, some of those guys are going to do. But as you get down to your younger guys, you're finding out that Matt Goss has come on good as a freshman. So they're finding out a lot about their ball club here in these first couple games.
That one is cut off by Groves, and then he bobbles it and can't make the throw over to first. Chavez missed it first, and Groves couldn't control it as he got it up the middle. Would have been a close play at first. But Florida's got the leadoff runner on the error by the shortstop.
That's a play Brett knows he should make. He got over there in plenty of time, just lost the handle as he came up to make the throw. So that's an E6.
So much for the 1-2-3 innings. That was the fifth. Now we're in the sixth. Johannes down at first, and Matt Goss stands in there, who has really been patient at the plate. Joe's bunt right here and laid down a good one. The crowd's arguing that it hit him as he was moving towards first, and Mike Martin, I think, is contesting the same point. Tony Thompson, Mike Martin, Tony Thompson.
We used to think Tony Thompson looked like Garth Brooks, and he's a good umpire. He was an ACC umpire when I played, and let's take a look here.
It's hard to tell. If it hit him, it caught him up on the chest right off the first bounce.
I'm almost watching the way Goss reacted right there. It looked like he reacted as though the ball had hit him.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell from the angle, but just from the reaction I got out of Goss, it looked like the ball hit him. It's a tough call for Tony Thompson to make. The batter runner shielded him.
Well, Goss gets another chance and makes the most of it. Sharp single to right field, and the Gators have got runners at first and second.
You're coming up to the meat part of the order again, and Chavez has now pitched into his fourth inning. So he's getting up there in pitches, and now we're into a crucial part of this ball game. I like Matt Goss. The guy's shown me some discipline at the plate. When he gets a good pitch, he does what the pitch allows him to do. The ball was inside. He pulled it through the hole between first and second.
Well, now you got a guy up there in Mark Ellis that's had a field day, 3 for 3. He's hitting .316 coming in, and that average has gone up. He showed bunt a little bit right there. Getting to that stage of the game where maybe you want to get a couple more runs home.
Yeah, that's totally up to the coach. You've got one of your all-time best run producers at the plate. You're up a run, so you could drop a bunt down and try to scrap for a couple more, or you could play for that big inning and try to bust the game open. So Andy Lopez just has to go on his gut reaction.
Ellis is looking down to third to get the sign from Steve Kling, who's been a long-time assistant with Andy Lopez. This whole tenure at Florida, and also with him before that at Pepperdine for several years. Runners bluff like they're going, and Chavez misses the strike zone.
You've seen the runners bluff a couple times. They're trying to open up a hole in the infield. Maybe your third baseman thinks he's going to run and takes a couple steps to the bag, and you're able to hit a ball by him. So you'll see that occasionally.
2-1 pitch. There's nobody down here. We're in the top of the sixth, and Chavez is in some trouble. This is softly lifted towards left field. It will bounce in there, and they will hold the runner, and the bases are loaded, and Ellis is now 4 for 4. Ellis can do no wrong today.
Exactly. He didn't hit this ball worth a flip and ended up just dumping it in front of the left fielder. Your confidence is high. You just loose and relax. Watch him just throw the bat out there. He's almost fooled by the breaking ball, but keeps the bat level so well and through the strike zone, he's able to drop that soft line drive into left field for his 4th knock of the day.
4 for 4 for Ellis, and Mike Martin's going to come out and talk to Chris Chavez. Florida State in a world of trouble right now, down a run, nobody out, and the base is loaded. And the thing for Florida is they've had the bases loaded a couple of times and have not capitalized like they could have. One time Catalanotti grounded into a double play that ended it, and then he flew out into what turned into a double play. They got 1 run on him. But Florida State could be in a lot worse situation than down just 5-4.
No one has gone down to the bullpen as of yet. It's very possible that Coach Shoup is going to get a feel from Coach Martin on what he thinks Chris Chavez is doing out there and how he feels, and they might get somebody down there after this beating. It'll be interesting to see what they try to do. They're in the middle part of the ball game. It's too early to go to your closer, and you really have one of your setup men out there. Chris Whitten is a guy that has served as a setup type man, so DeBlasi serves as your closer. You wouldn't really go to him, so you're at that point having to pull your starter where you need somebody to suck up a couple more innings.
Got Whitten, got Kriskin. They got plenty of arms they can bring in. They're going to leave Chavez right now, obviously, since there's nobody down there. Base is loaded, though. And Matt Siegel stands in. It's not like Chavez has been hit hard here this inning. And remember, the first runner, Johannes, who's now on third, reached on an error. He should have been out. Matt Goss bunted, perhaps hit himself and could have been out. This one is grounded. Scott will range over. His only play is the first. And a nice job by Cash, but another run comes in.
Good play by Sam Scott and a nice dig out by Kevin Cash. That's tough on the first baseman. You turn him back into the baseline. That's a tough catch, really, is all it is. It's just catching the ball, but you're put in an awkward angle with the base runner coming up behind you. Sam Scott does a nice job of making a good forehand play.
Next is the left fielder, number 30.
That one looked like it might find its way into right field, and that was a nice job by Cash on that throw. 6-4 Gators, and Florida State's going to load them up again. Jason Dill, for the second straight at bat, will take an intentional walk. And they're going to put it on Catalanotti. And I'm telling you what, Catalanotti is licking his chops at getting another chance. This will be the 3rd time he's come up with the bases loaded. He's only produced 1 run out of it.
I said earlier that I thought the team that had the biggest big inning would win. So far, Florida's got a 4-run inning, which is definitely a big inning, and they're putting themselves in position to have another one of those.
Bill trots down there, and Chavez steps off the mound.
Next to right fielder, number 22, Catalanotti.
Well, here comes Catalanotti against Chavez. Chavez has won the first 2 duels. But you got to wonder when Catalanotti is going to make Florida State pay for walking Jason Dill. 1 out in the inning. 6-4 Florida is our score. They can really break this thing open yet again, depending on how this turns out.
Catalanotti from Glendale Community College out in Arizona. 360 hitter last year, so he's up there again, bases loaded, and has an opportunity to blow this game open if he gets a good pitch that he can drive out of the park.
13 homers a year ago. Awaits the 1-1 pitch. There it is inside.
You're just looking for that happy pitch. At this point in your career, you're an upperclassman. You know what you can hit. It's just a matter of disciplining yourself to get that pitch and then drive it.
There it is, and it's snaked out of the air by Scott over to first, not in time, and Cash quickly recovers. Nobody goes anywhere, but Scott saves at least a run and maybe 2. Almost had the double play.
Catalanotti got a good pitch, hit the ball hard. Sam Scott reached up and snatched it down.
Next, number 5,
Almost doubled off the runner at
Kurt
first, but wasn't able to do so. There you see a good swing. Calanode comes down in good position to hit, drives through the ball, and Sam Scott elevates a little bit.
You see Cash head right over to first. Tough throw, and it probably wouldn't have been there in time anyway.
Right.
Good job by Dill to dive back in there.
Yeah, and Sam Scott, he probably tried to throw that ball off to the right. You don't want to miss and end up hitting the base runner. If you know you got a sure play at plenty of time, then you throw a good strike, but you don't want to tie up your first baseman. That's actually a good job. You want to miss on that side of the bag and give your first baseman the opportunity to come off there and help you out.
Well, Chavez isn't out of the woods yet. Bases are still loaded, although there's 2 outs now, and Kurt Keene is in there. Keene has walked, flown out, struck out, and he's behind 0-1 right now. But he can make up for what Catalanoti didn't do, depending on how he fares against Chavez here. Catalanoti's got to be back in the dugout just shaking his head over that one.
Yeah. That's one of those, you hit it, you're thinking a couple RBIs, all of a sudden it's caught and almost a double play.
You're already planning that wide turn down at first. 3 straight trips to the plate for Catalanoti with the bases juiced. 1 run out of the mix, but Florida leads at 6-4 and still a chance to add at least 1, maybe 2 more on a base hit here.
The crowd is very quiet. They know that they're about to get out of this inning relatively unscathed, and Florida State would almost have the momentum coming in to hit if they can get out of this thing with only 1 run on the board.
Here's the 2-1 pitch from Chavez, grounded to third, and McDougal will pick it up and step on third, and Chavez escapes further damage. Even when McDougal bobbled it, he just kind of nonchalantly picked up the ball, stepped on third, got the runner by all of about 2 feet, but FSU is out of it. 6-4 our score. The Noles need to pull out the rally cap.
What is speed vision? What makes you want to mortgage your house? It's Heikkinen and Schumacher getting busy when you four-wheel drifting the family car. It's that Harley your wife made you sell. You know, your ex-wife. It's getting vertical on a full burner, cutting the light for a 320 run. It's Amelia and her Electra. It's all the greatest racing flicks from the big screen. That's Speed Vision. You want it bad.
This month, the season revs up with live qualifying from the North Carolina 400, AMA Arena Cross, the All-Pro Driving Series, and James Garner, starring in the Academy Award-winning film Grand Prix.
To get Speed Vision added to your cable channel lineup, call toll-free 1-888-22-SPEED. While the 99 season is just revving up.
Activity in the Florida bullpen for the first time this afternoon. As we start the bottom of the 6th inning, a couple of arms are going to loosen up. Tough to see.
That's good camera work. You got to have your cameras positioned well to get a shot of that bullpen. They got their roll cage down there. It's hard to see these guys when they're heating up down in that right field bullpen area. Looked like Cardoza possibly. So,
well, you got Cardoza, who's kind of can give you a few innings of relief. Grzelewski is the closer for Florida. Don't know that he'd be up this early. A couple of guys possibly down. Of course, McClendon not in trouble in this inning. It's just that his pitch count is getting up there. 0-1 as Groves pops it up. It's fouled off, and it's going to stay in play, I believe. It does, but Siegel drops it. Matt Siegel had it right there and dropped it. And Brett Groves takes a deep breath and says, thank you.
Slowly the crowd has come back into this ball game. Florida State gave up 1 run, but really got out of a potential disastrous inning okay. So the crowd got into the ball game. They come up. You got a leadoff type guy, Brett Groves, coming to the plate to start it off. You got an opportunity to have a good inning with the crowd on your side. Here we go again.
He didn't make it look easy, but he gave him a second chance, and Groves has not had a good day.
That is the way the game goes. You know, the guy makes a throw in air, comes back, and A couple innings later, ends up dropping a pop-up. The next pitch, you get another one. I'll tell you, baseball, it tests you over and over again. And when you're struggling, it seems to just test you on the same thing consistently. So you're going to get some chances.
Well, you know Siegel's happy, because otherwise you're sitting there wondering what's going to go on, especially if Groves ends up at first.
Yeah.
But he got a chance at redemption in a hurry. So 1 up, 1 down. That's nothing new for Florida's ace, McClendon, who has gone the distance so far, and this is 39th start of the year.
Five innings, he's given up 4 runs, but his ability to just tough it out, stay in the game, and keep battling is exactly what he's going to have to do to help this ball club become the best it can be. He's got to demonstrate this type of persistence for those younger guys. When it gets tough, he's got to bear down and get out of those innings. Demonstrate his ability and his leadership for the younger guys.
Smith keeps fouling them off. One thing that Florida State has not done today at the bottom of the order is set the table for the guys at the top. Now's a chance if Smith can get on, you go back to the top of the order with 1 out and see what you can do. 2-2 the count. There's the pitch, and the count will run full.
All of Florida State's hits have come from the top half of that order, Tom. You're exactly right. There's no one, starting with Klosterman down, that has gotten a hit yet. So it's been the top half of the order.
This one is grounded, but it won't find the hole. It finds Shealy. He'll flip over to McClendon, and Smith will sit down. 2 up, 2 down once again for McClendon. He's making it look a lot easier here in the latter stages of the game compared to the early going.
It's like 2 different pitchers is what you see. You see a guy that can really dominate a ball game.
Center fielder, number 9, Carl Jernigan.
Find the corners of the plate when he's ahead in the count, and even when he gets to 2 outs in the inning, it's hard for him to close out the inning.
Carl Jernigan up there now. It is the bottom of the 6th inning. Florida's on top 6-4, and Jernigan's 0 for 2. It's been the 2, 3, and 4 hitters that have done most of the damage, and the 5-hole for FSU.
One thing Florida State's lineup doesn't show you is that true leadoff hitter. Jernigan's filling the role pretty well right now, and it's something that he's going to have to do to help this ball club down the road. And he's finally getting a little more comfortable in that role, trying to cut down the strikeouts, get on base a little bit more.
Upstairs, ball 3. 3-1 now. He's gone to Jernigan after setting down the first 2, Groves and Chris Smith.
You need to pick out your pitch to hit, nothing else. Looked like he was taken all the way right there, which might not be that bad of an idea. You're going to get a similar pitch 3-2 you would expect. So a little more defensive when the count is full than 3-1.
Payoff pitch from McClendon, and it hits him. Second time today that Jernigan has taken one from McClendon.
And that would hurt. Don't let that fool you.
Next batter is third baseman, number 31, Marshall McDougall.
Well, I tell you what, back in the 3rd inning, 2nd inning, I beg your pardon, McClendon got the first 2 hitters and then plunked Carl Jernigan, who went down to 1st, and that brought up Marshall McDougall, who tied us at 4 with a blast. So now we've got the same situation, 2 outs and Jernigan down at 1st after being hit by a pitch. And McDougall standing in there. No pitch. Timeout was called by McDougall. He got out of the batter's box. Bailed out, and he'll step back in there. One big swing by McDougall would tie it. Sure, he'd be happy just to give Matt Diaz a chance.
Jernigan on first base. A threat to run, but not a situation you would expect it.
Not going. McDougall takes it. Strike 1.
Marshall's a polished hitter. doesn't chase a lot of bad pitches. Everything is very simple and quiet. Quiet meaning there's not a lot of herky-jerky movements. The guy is very still, good concentration, and hits the ball hard.
Chased that one and fouled it off. Not really a chase, but he went with it. And he's down 0-2 in the count now. Well, McDougal popped out his first trip, homered his second time up, and walked last time. Andy Lopez wondering how much longer he can stay with McClendon. That one's wasted outside.
Nice job by Johannes. You saw how far he got out there. He made it look easy, but the guy covers a lot of ground laterally behind the plate. That pitch was well outside. Johannes easily slid out there, blocked that thing. He's a good defensive catcher.
So here we go on a 1-2 pitch from the junior hurler. Won't be made. He'll step off and we'll reset. McClendon has started 3 games, including this one in his career against FSU, all right here at Dick Howser Stadium. 0-1 previously. This one to right field and going to go foul and bounce into the fence. This is the longest he's lasted against Florida State. Expected to be a high draft pick once again. He was first round pick coming out of high school.
He was the voted best prospect in the Cape Cod League this past summer, so that's the best collegiate baseball league going in the summertime, and the managers up there voted him the best pitching prospect. So there's no doubt about his talent.
Well, he can bring it. He's got great size. Teams will take a gamble and just worry on getting a little more consistent. Turning it back plenty of time.
And that's really what the minor leagues is about. He's drafted high. This year he goes into the minor leagues. He's going to pitch and pitch and pitch. They'll do some fine tuning. But for the most part, they want that talent to go ahead and stay how it is and just go out there and gain the experience and improve just by playing.
2-2 pitch, he got him. McDougal chased one outside, and he'll sit down. McClendon sits down, the red-hot JUCO transfer from Florida State at FSU. Still down by 2. 6 innings in the book at Dick Howser Stadium, and the Gators are on top of the Seminoles. 6-4 our score.
Now is the perfect time to start weightlifting. The perfect time for SoloFlex. The muscle you build on SoloFlex increases your metabolism to burn fat 24 hours a day. Weightlifting also boosts your immune system and increases your aerobic capacity. And nothing works better than weightlifting to improve your looks and energy. Call now for your free brochure.
The English Premier League has arrived. Oh, what a stunning strike! Each week, Fox Sports Net has the biggest stars in international soccer and the legendary league's most famous clubs. Plus, up-to-the-minute news and reports from the greatest soccer circuit in the world. Red-hot Manchester United are in the Premier League fast lane. Coventry looks to avoid being another speed bump. The English Premier League, Sunday at 11 on Sunshine.
Shadows starting to creep into play here at Dick Howser Stadium as we move to the top of the 7th. Florida State led this game early on 2-zip, but the Gators have held the lead for the last few innings. Seminole fans have been relatively quiet. And it's a base hit or 2 away from being a not-so-close game. Florida has had many chances. Great look at the University Center here in Tallahassee that rings Doak Campbell Stadium.
How much different does that look than it did 5 years ago when it was straight girders and metal? Now you got a beautiful brick structure that surrounds the football stadium, turning it into one of the nicest looking football complexes in the country.
Well, you would know. You were looking that way for about 4 years when you lined up at short.
Yeah, I saw him build the whole thing right out there when I was playing.
Top of the 7th inning now. Chavez still out there for Florida State. He's pitched well. Has gotten in some trouble, but gotten back out of it. Shealy 2 for 3. A couple of singles.
Had a lot of action early on, and the last couple innings have been relatively quiet. Florida's threatened, but they weren't able to crack it open for another big inning. Pitchers have settled down, and they've really taken control of the ball game here in the last 2 or 3 innings.
That one stays inside, and it will go 2-1. Yeah, the 5th inning we had 1, 2, 3 for both sides. 6th inning was a little more of an adventure for Chris Chavez, but he only managed to give up 1 run, and now he's even the count at 2-2 on Shealy. Right about a year ago that Chavez, as this one is strike 3, fooled him there, and Shealy will sit down. Nice job. I was going to say it was right about a year ago that Chris fired that no-hitter for Florida State. Against Charleston Southern, I believe.
It sure was. The sweeping curveball is on.
Pitching for Floyd, number 37, Brian
Except
Potts.
for the 1 strikeout, they all have come on that big sweeping breaking ball that he's developed in the last year. Really didn't throw it that much in his early years at Florida State, but has developed it nicely towards the end of last year, and then coming into this year to come out of the bullpen so far and use that sidearm delivery occasionally to strike people out.
4th strikeout of the game for Chavez. And he's 1-1 on the designated hitter, Mike Floyd. Beg your pardon. This is Brian Hott, who's in there now, and a big swing to center field, and Jernigan makes the catch. So the Gators pinch hit with Brian Hott right there.
Hott might have just grabbed a bat and went up there and hit, because it was really quiet the way he went up there. I don't even remember them announcing him at all. He just slid up there and hit. Pinch hitting for Floyd, really connected pretty well with the ball, but hit it to a very deep part of the ballpark.
Well, he's a guy that's had rotator cuff problems, and they haven't been able to figure it out. He's had a couple of surgeries on it and still can't really throw, but he'll pinch hit, and that was his chance right there, and heads back to the dugout. So Johannes stands in. 2 outs now, and Chavez has got a chance to set him down 1-2-3.
The fans here have been very quiet the last 3 innings. They're waiting for some action. Had the early fireworks and been pretty quiet lately.
Nice job charging by McDougal, and what a gun over to first. 3 up, 3 down for the 2nd time in the last 3 innings. That brings the crowd to life a little bit. Florida State's running out of at-bats, though. They move to the bottom of the 7th. FSU still down 6-4.
If you love golf and have had a chance to play much in the last few months, then you're probably familiar with the amazing success of the Tri-Metal line of fairway woods. Well, now there's a new Tri-Metal, and if you like the fairway woods, you're going to love the Tri-Metal D.
The Tri-Metal driver is another Orlamar breakthrough in multi-material technology and design. Independent tests proved the Tri-Metal driver was 73% straighter and carried 9 yards longer than the Callaway Great Big Bertha.
Here's how you can get the same driver so many players are already playing. The Tri-Metal D.
Call the number on your screen now to order the new Orlamar Tri-Metal driver for only 4 easy payments of $74.95. By calling now, you'll receive this Roger Maltby golf video and a free subscription to Great Golf magazine.
Like the fairway woods before, this driver's not oversized. It's the right size.
Call now and be the first in your group with the new Tri-Metal driver from Orlamar Golf.
The Kroger St. Jude semifinals, tonight at 9:30 on Sunshine.
President Sandy D'Alembert, FSU University president, on hand for this one. He wants to turn that into a smile if Florida State turns this thing around. They trail 6-4. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning now. See President D'Alembert at a lot of sporting events.
he's seen his athletic program really blossom in the last 5 years. I'll tell you what, the football team's always ranked highly, the baseball team and the basketball team's on the right track. So his athletic program's really blossoming.
McClendon is still out there for the University of Florida, and FSU down 2 in that last swing by Matt Diaz. He was looking for a 3-run homer with that swing with nobody on. New left fielder for the University of Florida. Jason Hutton is out there, a junior from Palm Beach.
We talk about the athletic programs. The brand new women's softball complex and soccer complex opened up this year. Softball team swept a doubleheader from Mercer, so another beautiful facility developed here at Florida State, and Sandy Dallenburn, I'm sure, is thrilled to death with how that came through.
Count is 1-2 on Diaz. We're going to switch baseballs. Matt's been fairly quiet by his standards lately. Of course, his standards are about 2 homers and 4 RBI a game. He singled and scored the first run of the game for Florida State, and then grounded out and reached on an error his last trip. Here is the 1-2 pitch from McClendon, and this one is grounded softly foul down the first baseline. Diaz is having trouble getting a measure of McClendon. Matt has done a nice job of settling down, because Florida State had a chance early on to one more inning against him, really knock him out of there.
One of the things Diaz is always working on is his discipline at the plate. You see him chase some bad pitches, but as a result of that, the guy can hit doubles and home runs on pitches that might not even be strikes. So there's a fine line between being disciplined and really cutting down on somebody's strength. Earlier in the ball game, his base hit was on a pitch that could have been a ball, but he smacked it right up the middle. So the guy's a very aggressive hitter, and you don't want to take away that aggressiveness from somebody that's capable of helping you so much offensively.
This one is lifted to right. It is sinking, but not fast enough for Diaz. Catalanotti right there. Adam played perfectly and retires him.
Out first base is Jason Dill, and left field number 13, Jason Hutton.
Well, Diaz swinging at pitches that you're saying that aren't exactly strikes. That's like a basketball player taking that shot from 8 feet behind the three-point line. What are you doing? And then he sinks it. Nice shot. It's kind of what Diaz has done.
Sammy Sosa was a guy that was always a free swinger, but he's got the ability to hit home runs on pitches that are up in the strike zone or low. So when you got a guy with that much talent, there's a fine line between being real disciplined and taking away that aggressiveness.
John Halliday stands in there now, and he's behind, or he's ahead as McClendon falls behind. It's 2-0. Well, Halliday and Scott have done a nice job today. Halliday had that big double in the first. They brought in Diaz. 2-0 pitch, strike one.
There's a good 2-0 fastball out away. McClendon got hurt early in the ball game on a pitch that was in. Halliday jerked it off that big screen in right field.
This one is smoked to right center field, and that one might still be gone. It was going to take some branches down. It's a solo blast and a home run. Florida State's 1 run closer. John Halliday.
Now that was a line drive that got over the screen. Earlier in the game, he hits one off the big screen. That was just a screamer that got out of here so quick. Looked like the pitch might have actually been on the outside part of the plate, but Halliday is big enough and strong enough to get out there and extend and just drive that pitch over the fence. Let's take a look here. Johannes is set up away. The pitch is not as far away as McClendon would have liked, and it kind of caught the middle portion of the plate. Halliday knows what to do with those pitches.
4th home run of the year for Halliday. And it's 6-5. Fan wants a curtain call, and they get one.
Ladies and gentlemen, that home run means that Ronald Rayner.
Andy Lopez is going to take the long, drawn-out stroll out to the mound. And he looked down towards the dugout. I'm not sure if he's ready to make a change yet or not. He's just buying some time.
Every Saturday, so congratulations again, Ronald Rayner.
He's throwing a ton of innings, a ton of pitches, though.
There's Keith Bryce. Coach Lopez mentioned his name. as one of their setup type guys. So we'll see. That actually could be Grislovsky, the sidearm.
Yeah, this is
that sidearm delivery. That's their closer.
Bryce
pictured there.
Bryce is right there jogging towards the pitcher's mound.
And this is working out exactly how Andy Lopez hoped it would. He kept McClendon in the ball game to the 7th inning. Now he's got his setup man in there. He's got his closer down there slowly getting ready. So it'll be interesting to see how the bullpen reacts the first time they've been tested like this.
We'll step aside while he gets his warm-up tosses. 6-5, we're in the 7th.
Breakfast with the Gators, the most important meal of the week. It's Gator Tail. Then the Lady Gators take on the Lady Bulldogs in an SEC showdown. Breakfast with the Gators, tomorrow morning at 8:30 on Sunshine.
On a brand new edition of Going Deep, get the inside story on pro sports' dirty little secret, concussions.
It's amazing how your perspective changes when you go through it.
Going Deep, Sunday at 10 on Sunshine.
Keith Bryce will be the new pitcher for Florida. He is a sophomore. 6'2", 195-pound right-hander out of Miami Westminster Christian that has produced so many excellent players over the years. 77th round pick by the Devil Rays in their first ever draft back in '96.
I don't think I've ever seen a coach stay out there the whole time the pitcher's warming up. You see something different every day. It's almost like practice. Andy Lopez is just standing right there coaching him. Never seen that.
Well, remember Lopez handled the pitchers at Pepperdine and hadn't done it at Florida until this year. Lost the coach, moved on to become the head man at Oregon State. So that was Gary Henderson. So Lopez decided to handle the pitchers again himself. I think that's the one area, if you look at his career at Florida so far, that he hasn't been completely pleased with is the pitching stabs that he's had at University of Florida. They've broken all kinds of offensive records. Lopez has got a hand in there now. He wants to fine-tune that staff. So Keith Bryce gets in there. Matt McClendon goes 6 1/3, allows 5 runs. Would stand to be the winning pitcher for Florida if that lead holds up. Florida bullpen, though, has not done a great job this year, to say the least. That one is fouled out, way foul. I say that because they're 0 for 3 on save chances. They've lost the lead 4 times out of 5 chances to hold one. So Lopez is still trying to find out what he's got in the pen. Bryce did a great job in the first game of the year against Miami. That was in Gainesville. 3 stellar innings. Then got in some trouble on the road.
I believe Florida and Miami have split the last, I think they're 8 and 8. 8 home games Florida has won in a row. They go down to Miami and they've lost 8 down there. So that series has kind of been a scratch for both sides. Tough ball games, but no one's come out with an edge the last 4 years.
Yep, same story again this year. Florida won twice in Gainesville. Miami won twice down in Coral Gables. Well, 3-1 now is the count, and this one is swung on and fouled off. Scott saw it, liked it, but fouled it off.
He knows he had a pitch to hit right there. A little disappointed he fouled it off. Bryce gets the ball up there pretty good. Good, smooth delivery with a sneaky fastball. His ball stays a little straighter than McClendon. McClendon has more of a hard sinking fastball. Bryce seems to have that hard, straight fastball that stays up.
Well, Scott milks a walk out of him. Jogs down to first. There is 1 out in the inning, and Klosterman comes up. Bryce 1-1 on the year with a 2.45 ERA. 3 2/3 inning, but the one thing you don't want to do is put runners on base. Klosterman been quiet today. See what he does against Bryce. Klosterman has walked, grounded out, hit into a fielder's choice.
coach, when you get down into your SEC play and into the regional tournaments, you need to find out who's going to come out of the bullpen and do what. Some guys pitch better when their team's winning. Some guys come out and hold your lead good for you. So these games are great. The fans love them, but the coaches use these games to really get an indication of how people react.
This one gets away, and Scott will advance to second, standing up. He'll even make the turn. Well, that's big because it takes out the threat of a double play, and it puts him in scoring position. Now a base hit would tie this game, depending on where it's hit.
See if Bryce can settle down here. Now he's got an open base, so wants to pitch carefully to Closterman. Doesn't want to give him anything too fat over the middle of the plate.
This one is nubbed towards shallow left field. Scott has to hold up, and it's going to drop. Base hit, but Scott can't go anywhere. Florida State puts another runner on, but Scott had to hold up the whole way. It was right in front of him because there was no way to tell whether that catch was going to be made.
Jeremiah hit that ball off his fist and was able to get enough on it to get it out over the infield. The left fielder just couldn't come in and make the play. So Sam Scott has a tough decision. If that guy ends up diving to make the catch and you're halfway to third base, you could be in trouble. So you almost have to hang out and see what happens. And if he doesn't catch it, you're really in a tough spot. You have to go back to second base. The ball was so close to the third base that you couldn't advance on that. Too short of a throw.
Well, Kevin Cash is up there now. He's 0 for his last 4 games with no RBI. Reached base today on a walk, but he's 0 for 2.
This is what gets you out of a slump. You're concentrating so hard on helping your team that it pulls you right out of a slump. You don't even worry about your average or any of that stuff. You're just up there battling, trying to win a ball game for your team. These are the situations that you're happy to be in when you're struggling a little bit.
Count is 1-1 now. Let's see if Kevin Cash is in. Strike 2. He thought it was outside.
That was a good hard fastball down and away. Nothing you can do with that as a hitter. That's a very good pitch by Keith Bryce.
Big pitch now for Bryce. It's 1-2. Stays outside and Cash lays off.
Bryce has that big, slow, tumbling overhand curveball. Trying to drop it in there, just is missing away with it right now.
Count's even at 2-2. Runners at first and second. Cash looks at it again, and the count runs full.
I want the coach to start the runners if I'm hitting. It takes some of the thinking out of it for you if you're struggling a little bit. Go ahead, start the runners. Make me hit the ball if it's a strike. I'm not worried about anything else other than hitting the ball hard if I get a strike. If I'm Kevin Cash, I want those guys running.
Here comes the payoff pitch. It is fouled, but it will stay foul. Foul down the right side line. Good cut for Cash. Lifetime against Florida, Cash is just 1 for 11 now. But he can make up for that in a hurry. Florida State trails it by a run. Cash trying to tie him up. Payoff pitch again, and this one will load him up. Ball 4. This is exactly what I was talking about with Florida's bullpen so far this year.
Next batter is Seminole shortstop, number 1, Brett Cruz.
Give him a lead, it is not a sure thing.
There's no substitute for experience, and you can't replace these situations in practice. You have to just get out there and be in these situations a couple times until you get comfortable, and you got to figure out what you can do. Now, his breaking pitch wasn't very effective. He threw some real good fastballs, but wasn't able to close it out.
Well, Andy Lopez brings the whole infield in for a mound conference right now. Florida State has loaded them up. There is 1 out in the inning. And FSU is just trying to find a way to bring a run home to tie this thing.
There's a lot of wheels turning right now. How do you play your infield? Do you want your first baseman and third baseman in where do you want your middle guys? Do you want them at normal double play depth, or do you want to bring them in almost at a 3/4 depth where they can come home on a slow hit ball, turn the double play on a hard hit ball? So there's a lot of things going on right now. Bryce's job is to get in there and throw strikes. That's the only thing he's got to do. Be interesting to see how everybody positions themselves out there. Looks like the middle guys are at double play depth. You got your first baseman hugging the line. He can really do either. If he gets a slow ball, he can come home, he can step on first, or if he gets a hard hit ball out to his right, he can turn a double play at second.
And Siegel, meanwhile, is about a foot in front of the bag at third. Groves is the hitter, and he takes a strike. Thought it was inside. 0 for 3. Last time he popped up to Siegel at third. Sam Scott is the runner at third, Klosterman at second, Cash down at first. Strike 2. Same place.
That was the best breaking pitch he's thrown all day. That ball was sharp, tight, a little harder, more effective than that big, slow one. Watch this thing start out and just bite.
Groves tried to lay off. He thought it was coming inside. Now he's really in a hole at 0-2. Swings at this one. Could be 2. It's perfectly placed. Groves has got to leg it out. He does not. 4-6-3.
Mark Ellis made that play. Mark Ellis turned that ball as good as you can ask anyone to do it. That guy can play baseball.
Keen to Ellis to Shealy in Florida State. Gets only 1 run. 6-5 our score. The Gators dodge a serious Seminole bullet. We move to the 8th.
There's something comfortable about that old familiar routine. Sometimes it's just plain easier, but not always smarter. You see, just because you've always done something one way doesn't mean there aren't other, better possibilities. Take auto insurance, for example. No matter how long you've been writing the same big checks to the same insurance agent year in and year out, you just might like dealing directly with us much more. You might like saving hundreds of dollars on solid, reliable protection with the AIG Auto Insurance Program. You might even get attached to all the money-saving discounts we offer. Most important, if you ever do have an accident, you're sure to appreciate solid protection from one of the largest and most reliable names in insurance. And dealing direct is easy. Just pick up your phone and call 1-888-AIG-AUTO now. Go ahead, do something a little different today. Call 1-888-AIG-AUTO now. Get your car insurance a better way and save.
Watch Mark Ellis turn this double play. You get a quick jump turn by Keene. Watch how quick Mark Ellis gets rid of that ball. That made the play. There's your play of the game so far. A good double play, a good call at first. I thought Brett Groves was out. Very close, obviously, but man, what a turn by Mark Ellis. The guy can play.
We've seen Florida come up with the bases loaded 3 times, and FSU has gotten out of it pretty much unscathed every time. And that time, FSU had the bases juiced, and Florida got exactly what they wanted. Just what you talked about, the middle infielders back at double play depth.
Yep.
Well, Chris Chavez, meanwhile, has done a very commendable job out of the pen, giving up 2 runs in 5 2/3 innings. But basically, they had to get him in the second inning and say, well, we're in trouble, Chris, keep us in it. And he's done his job. He has done his part.
There's a lot of wheels turning. You're going to have to get somebody up in the pen soon. Chavez has thrown a lot of pitches. There's action down there right now. So both sides are working. There's a lot of things going on in those dugouts that people don't see just sitting up in the stands. Guys are talking about who's going to face who. If we get to this situation, do we want to bring in a left-handed pitcher? Who's going to pinch run for Goss if he gets on? You know, there's certain things that are going on in the dugouts that make the game exciting.
This one just